System. From Iron Man, the counteroffensive begins. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 326. Every family has its own problems. Aunt, I'm going out. It's rare for Tong Wenji to enjoy the weekend leisure time at home with Fang Yuan. Since the two children at home have a place to go on weekends, they really save a lot of energy and worries. But why is Leah going out with his school bag after class? No, Leah, you have studied all day. Just take a good rest at home, watch TV, play with your phone, eat some snacks and fruits. Why do you want to go out? Oh, didn't Wang Yida's mother add me on WeChat before? She insisted that I go to give Wang Yidi extra lessons, saying that she was afraid that Wang Yidi would fall behind in cultural studies because of the art exam. What? Wang Yidi's mother is really interesting. Her own children are just children, while other people's children are free labor. Alia's little head is preparing for the college entrance examination. She thinks it's a beautiful thing. Her own child doesn't delay either, but let Alia run around. Why? You listen to my aunt. We won't go. It's okay, aunt. I give her tutoring from the perspective of a teacher, just as it is a review for myself, which is good. Lin Lia had no choice. Wang Yidi's mother was really familiar with people. Regardless of whether he agreed or not, a red envelope of 200 yuan was sent to him. Besides, he is now living under someone else's roof. It's not good to cause discord between his aunt's family and neighbors because of this, right? Not to mention, this trip was to cooperate with the actions of his cousin and uncle-in-law and provide cover for the action. Hey, mom, do you know why Leah has to give Wang Yidi extra lessons? It's because he likes Wang Yidi. Forget it. Get out of the way. It's none of your business. Leah, listen to your aunt. Don't go. Just stay at home and have a good rest. In the evening, my uncle-in-law and I will make you something delicious. Fang Yifan, who doesn't know anything, has always been unwelcome in the family. Of course, he was probably used to the relaxed and equal family atmosphere. Fang Yifan took Tong Wenji's rudeness to him as care. Knock knock, who is it? It's me, Wenji. Click. Hey, Leah. Hello, auntie. Wenji. Did his mom? Did he is here too? Welcome. As soon as Lin Lia was about to turn around and go back to his room, there was a familiar knock on the door. He opened the door and saw Wang Yidi's mom, who was very friendly with everyone, and Wang Yidi, who was standing there with a textbook in her arms. Now, Lin Lia didn't have to go upstairs to Wang Yidi's house, and Tong Wenji didn't have to be the bad guy. Wang Yidi was taken directly to Fang Yifan's house by her own mother for tutoring. Because of the intrusion of Wang Yidi and her mother, Fang Yuan also quietly took Fang Yifan and sneaked out of the house. The father and son privately made an appointment with Kaiao Weidong's fiancée, teacher Zhao Meng, who is the professional body vocal teacher. Although she is currently engaged in yoga teaching, she has many conflicts with Song Kan and Tong Wenji. However, for the sake of the art exam, Fang Yuan and Fang Yifan can't care so much. Late at night, on the busy street, a panting middle-aged man hurriedly ran into the nurse station of the inpatient department of the hospital. After asking Liu Jing's room number, tap, whoosh, the truth cannot be hidden, or Ji Shengli, who was slow to realize it, because he was not familiar with housework. When he called Liu Jing for advice on video, he still found her hospital gown and the wood environment in the background. Click, their eyes met. Tears welled up in their eyes. You, old G, I have to tell you that I'm sorry. I shouldn't have kept this from you. Click, men don't shed tears easily, but they just haven't reached the point of being sad. After going through ups and downs in half a lifetime, Ji Shengli and his wife, who have become husband and wife, have mixed feelings at this time. What's the problem? Breast. I've done a molybdenum target test, 4C, and the probability of malignancy is relatively high, so I need to be hospitalized for a biopsy. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Woo, I should have discovered it earlier. It's me. I neglected to care about you. Woo. Click. Ji Shengli knelt down in front of Liu Jing's bed, feeling extremely sad, and when he choked and wanted to say something else, he was already sobbing. He couldn't say anything except sobbing. Okay, okay, it's nothing, it's nothing, it will pass, it will pass, we still have Yang Yang, Leo G, don't be sad. Liu Jing stroked her lover's broad back. Although she felt very uncomfortable at this time, as an adult and a parent, they must learn to be strong. Otherwise, how can they guide their children and set a good example for them? On Monday, at the Sunny Chunfeng Middle School, under the warm sun, students were still in the classroom for the last self-study class, while teachers who had no classes and parents of senior students were already sitting in the auditorium. Considering that senior students are in adolescence and face the hidden pressure of the college entrance examination, this psychological lecture was specially held. Ahem. Hello, 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 parents. For this parent-teacher conference, we have specially arranged a psychological lecture. The purpose is to start from both the school and the family, to relieve the pressure for the children. I have taught many senior high school students. Senior high school is the most stressful year in the 6 years of middle school life. It is also the year when the children have the biggest physical and psychological changes since they grew up. As the main speaker of the opening speech, Teacher Li Meng is also familiar with the situation and has long passed the nervous and cramped stage. After all, as the head of the grade group and an old teacher with rich teaching experience, there are really few people who can calm the situation better than her. In this situation, many children will have some extreme behaviors and will use some wrong ways to relieve pressure, such as dating, smoking, drinking, and even some violent behaviors. Let's take dating as an example. Teacher Li Meng on the podium was generous and well dressed. She spoke with full energy and made sense. Whether it was the control of the scene or the understanding of the theme of this parent-teacher conference, she was very thorough. Hey, Mr. Luo, you said that there are many excellent female teachers like Ms. Li, who are both elegant and capable, and most importantly, good looking. Are there many of them in our school? Pan Shui, as well as Mr. Chen, Mr. Wang, and Luo Wen all attended the parent-teacher meeting and sat directly in the first row. At this time, only Pan Shui, a single young man with excessive male hormone secretion, dared to make bold comments on Ms. Li Meng on the podium, and the person he quietly communicated with was naturally Luo Wen, who followed her wherever she went. Not many, so you really have to hurry up, otherwise, after she finishes speaking, I will move a seat for you, and I will sit in the corner. Haha, what Pan Shui was thinking. The other teachers in the office all knew it. No, they saw through it and said it, but Ms. Li Meng did not respond positively, so they did not have any follow-up development. Luo Wen didn't want to hinder the development of the plot, because of his own reasons. At least he was really optimistic, and blessed the couple of Li Meng and Pan Shui. Since Pan Shui had taken the lead, he should be more conscious, and take the initiative to help them. Haha, thank you, Mr. Luo. I'll treat you to a meal and you can choose a seat. Chapter 327 Psychological Lecture. Professor Sun, nice to meet you. Hey, Professor Luo, you're too polite. Compared with young talents like you, top scientific researchers, I really feel that every generation has its own talents, and the old ones are replaced by the new ones. As soon as the psychology lecture ended, Professor Sun Yi from the Academy of Social Sciences took the initiative to talk to Luo Wen. I don't know if he wanted to make friends or heard about it from somewhere, so he took the opportunity of going to Chunfeng Middle School to get familiar with Luo Wen. Luo Wen was also used to these well-informed people and started chatting with him calmly. Hey, Teacher Li, what do you think Professor Sun and Teacher Luo are talking about? They look very enthusiastic. Pan Shui, who looked curious, finally dealt with the parents of the students in the class. He returned to the lecture site in the auditorium and helped Li Meng pack up the tools and materials. Looking at Professor Sun's flattering expression, he seemed to recall that Luo Wen's identity was unusual and that he had endless skills and secrets. You ask me how I know. Besides, haven't you always been with Teacher Luo? You haven't figured out Teacher Luo's identity until now, have you? It shouldn't be like this. Although Pan Shuo's teaching ability is a little poor, he can be said to be a well-deserved number one among the teachers and the entire grade group in terms of making friends and getting information. How come he sometimes acts as if he doesn't know Luo Wen, who he gets along with every day and has a very good relationship with? Besides, Li Ming herself is still curious about senior scholars like Professor Sun. How can she know what they usually talk about when they communicate with professors at this level? In adolescence, senior high school students face the college entrance examination and are at the crossroads of life choices. Under the overlap of various conditions, the school, the students' parents, and even the society have invested too much attention and energy in this special group of senior high school students who have just turned 18. To be honest, Luo Wen first affirmed that the school's approach did have certain benefits for the students' mental health, but at most it was only a temporary solution, and not a permanent solution. The topic of puberty has always existed, and the physiological changes and psychological pressure of those senior high school students may not be guided in the right direction, or in other words, the way the outside world wants them to become. As long as people are alive, have desires, and have thoughts, pressure will always be with them, and it will not disappear directly. Psychological research and psychological counseling are just to turn pressure into a beneficial aid, rather than to make it disappear directly. Luo Wen thought about himself, and he had long been out of the level of ordinary people in terms of many external material conditions or emotional and physiological needs. His only pleasure and pursuit is the ultimate evolution of civilization and the eternity of life. Everything else is just an experience, or a beautiful memory kept in his heart. He may be serious, but he will not devote himself to it completely. Complete the system tasks, appreciate the different world scenery, witness the development of different lives and stories. Luo Wen unknowingly, he is no longer a young man with youthful buts, nor is he an ordinary person who fights for strength and wins, and likes to save face, but a monk who masters mysterious power, a person who is bound by the system, and makes a great wish to break the boundary. With all these, doesn't Luo Wen still have his own pressure? Not to mention those ordinary normal people. How many real temptations, life difficulties, birth, aging, illness, death, suffering, and the sources of pressure are countless. The psychological lectures of Chunfeng Middle School are a series of activities. Every week, Professor Sun will take out 1 or 2 classes to help senior high school students achieve their stress reduction goals through practical activities. This process is divided into several stages. Even for some projects, Professor Sun's research team also wants to use experimental data to verify the feasibility of their own projects. The school, students, parents, teachers, and research groups are mutually beneficial and are actively promoting this psychological counseling and stress relief work. In a blink of an eye, we quickly went from the first parent communication meeting to the first stress relief activity on Wednesday. The rules of the activity are very simple. Students are divided into groups of 10 and loudly introduce themselves and their parents' names to others. This may be the so-called reconstruction of self-cognition, and it also allows students to increase their understanding of each other in order to prepare and pave the way for more activities to come. Classmates, this activity is very simple. Please relax and don't be timid or afraid. I will start first. My name is Sun Yi, and I'm the son of Sun Peng and Gao Xiaofang. Come on, let's get started. Lia, Yingzi, Taozi, Yang Gang, and that guy, Catfish Spirit, come here. As an active participant in the event, Fang Yifan is the most active one in doing anything, as long as he is not in class at school. And the Catfish Spirit he usually dislikes, that is, Wang Yidi, is very beautiful, but I don't know if she is like her mother. She never considers herself an outsider and acts very familiar with everyone. But in fact, she doesn't have any true friends. She is too self-centered, and it is really difficult for her to have her own small team. You took the initiative to invite me. Yes, don't waste time, I invited you. The students in the field quickly formed their own team of 10, and Luo Wen, who was standing quietly on the side, also lifted some of his sensory restrictions, taking advantage of today's opportunity to collect the information and intelligence he was interested in. Okay, those who have completed the first activity can raise their hands. Okay, then we will start preparing for the second activity. The rules are still similar to before, but there are some adjustments in the form. No need to talk. Everyone hugs your teammates on the left and right sides for more than 3 seconds. Isn't it a bit inappropriate? They are all young men and women, and they are all in the critical period of puberty. This hugging, isn't it using magic to defeat magic, and negative times negative equals positive? Hey, Teacher Lee, how about we do it too? It can help lower blood pressure, right? Pan Shui opened his arms and looked at Teacher Lee expectantly and eagerly. However, Li Meng's eyes were a little evasive, and he even glanced towards a corner unconsciously. Unfortunately, that person's attention seemed to be all on the students, and he really didn't have a single distracting thought. Go away, I don't need it. Creak, creak. Hey, teacher son, I just want to ask, what is the specific significance of this activity? Pan Shui touched his nose and followed the footsteps of Professor Sun Yi and quickly concealed his embarrassment. Oh, I thought Professor Luo had explained it to you. Then let me explain it to you again. It's like this. For example, let's take the group closest to us as an example. Sun Yi felt that he benefited a lot from the communication with Luo Wen. What's more, the most important thing is that the extremely young Luo Wen does have an extraordinary pattern and vision. His insights and ideas are like a wake-up call. Therefore, when he mentioned Luo Wen, he was unconsciously humble and low-key. That boy's name is Fang Yifen, right? Yes, Fang Yifen, from our class. From him, we can feel that his family life should be very happy. He should have a close relationship with his parents. He himself does not feel lonely, so he can loudly and proudly say his parents' names in the first activity. Oh, that makes sense. Also, in the second activity, his hug with his classmates was just symbolic, without too many personal feelings and thoughts, and it stopped at the touch. This shows that he has enough sense of security in his family, so he behaves a little indifferent to the goodwill released by the outside world. So the meaning and purpose of these two activities are so clear and obvious. Pan Shui and Li Meng suddenly realized it at this time, and their expressions changed to understanding and fascination. Chapter 328 Misunderstanding. Hush. After school, I went home in the leisurely sunset. The community atmosphere in Shuxiangyuan was particularly relaxed and full of life. There were old people with children, young people walking their dogs, and students like Fang Yifen and Kao Yingzi walking together. However, compared to Kao Yingzi, who was a little lonely, Fang Yifen hummed a happy pop song, just like a cheerful young man who never knew what sorrow was. Hey, Yingzi, I found that Lear was a little abnormal recently. Didn't you notice that when he hugged Taozi today, he obviously felt different? Oh, isn't that what the teacher asked? Kao Yingzi, who was talking about it, didn't seem to have much interest in participating in Fang Yifen's new discovery. Her eyes were a little absent-minded on the roadside, in the yellow and dry grass. Yes, it was the teacher's request, but I can vaguely feel that he may like Taozi. What? Fang Hao, you have nothing to do all day, thinking about these unrealistic things, so your grades are always not improving, right? Ha 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 ha, nonsense, nonsense, because I think he and Wang Yidi are more compatible. Kao Yingzi no longer has the energy to say anything to Fang Yifen. He always likes to joke around, so it's useless to say anything. Kao Yingzi feels like a little grass on the roadside that no one cares about. Although she has her own father and mother, they divorced a long time ago, and it seems that they are close to nothing. The care for her is only because the third year of high school is approaching, so they suddenly put all their thoughts on her. Apart from studying and the college entrance examination, they never care about her growth, her ideals, or her ideas. They only think that satisfying her in life and providing material compensation. Everything is about getting into a good university, and everything is about what will happen after the college entrance examination. Kao Yingzi is a living person with her own ideas, ideals, and pursuits. She is no longer a child. However, her parents still treat her as a child, and everything is for her good. Such care and perfunctory are like a little bee in a honey pot, which is both happy and particularly fearful and uneasy. The satisfaction of food and the feeling of suffocation are always tormenting Kao Yingzi's heart. Beep click. The two walked to the door of unit 516, and Fang Yifen opened the door of the unit. Kao Yingzi was still immersed in her endless sea of suffering, not knowing where to go next. In the bustling supermarket, at 5 or 6 o'clock every day, the surrounding residents began to go home to prepare dinner, and naturally the first stop was the supermarket, to purchase materials and supplies. Just like Luo Wen, he would occasionally get off work early, go home to make himself a hot and hearty dinner, and then wear a tweed coat, and carry a cup of tea to the school, to teach students in the evening. Hey, Mr. Luo, you are here to buy groceries too. You are usually so busy. Why don't you send me a message and I will bring it to you directly? Song Kyan and Tong Wenji were chatting and purchasing supplies among the rows of shelves. Luo Wen pushed a cart, like the stars in the summer. Wherever he went, there were countless eyes of the opposite sex projected on him. However, Luo Wen was easygoing, and had long been accustomed to such changes. The two parties met naturally at the corner. This is not Luo Wen creating an encounter. These two are mothers. Besides, Luo Wen has no special hobbies. It is really just a coincidence. There is nothing strange about this. This supermarket is right next to Shuxiang. Tong Wenji and Song Kyan come here almost every day. Even if they buy a scallion, they will come in and shop for a long time. It is really difficult for Luo Wen not to meet them at this time. No, you help me carry it, but you don't charge me. How can this be? Besides, I'm a man. How can I ask the parents of the students to carry things home for me? I bought a lot of things at a time, so I'd better do it myself. Haha, oh, Teacher Luo, you really don't know what to tell me. The children are taking classes and reviewing at your place, tutoring and cooking. As parents, we send you some food and daily necessities, which is also taking advantage of you, right? Besides, Wenji and I can't carry so much at once. Fangilin and Kaoidan can be solved by just calling them. Yes, Teacher Luo, the children have troubled you enough. You can just let us handle these things for you in the future. Whether it is Song Kyan or Tong Wenji, their respect and affection for Luo Wen are from the heart. It is not the kind of love between men and women, but a kind of gratitude and respect. Of course, part of the reason is that Luo Wen is young and particularly masculine. It's a pure appreciation of beautiful things. It's okay. I'm not incompetent. I come out to buy things occasionally, just to relax. I've bought everything. You guys? Oh, same. Let's go back together. Yes. Song Kyan and I will help you get some later. Don't refuse this favor, Mr. Luo. Okay. Don't be unhappy. How about this? Although I don't believe in the hugging therapy in school, Leah and I hugged each other in the afternoon. It felt good. We didn't hug each other properly, so I'll let you hug me reluctantly. How about it? Luo Wen was carrying several large shopping bags, and Song Kyan and Tong Wenji beside him also grabbed two relatively light ones. It was just a little strange that a handsome young man walked with two middle-aged women who still had charm. To outsiders, they thought they were relatives. However, the two women kept calling each other Mr. Luo, and their eyes were full of respect and flattery in addition to joy. What was going on? As soon as he approached the downstairs, Luo Wen heard a familiar voice coming from the stairwell. However, isn't this plot arrangement a bit too tight? Was the psychological lecture in the original plot specially prepared in advance to make the children's parents misunderstand that Kao Yingzi and Fang Yifan were in a premature love relationship? Then should I stop Song Kyan and Tong Wenji and let them go in later, so as not to run into an embarrassing scene and cause misunderstandings between the parents and the two children? Puff, Russell Wu Fang Yifan and Kao Yingzi inside. I don't know if they talked about the divorce of Song Kyan and Kao Weidang, or because of Song Kyan's strict control of Kao Yingzi. Anyway, the emotions gradually got out of control, and Kao Yingzi began to sob with tears, and Fang Yifan's proposal became a reality. The two boys and girls who had just turned 18 gently hugged each other. Beep click. Hey, Teacher Luo, why don't you leave? Is the stuff too heavy? Or should we take a break? Hoo-hoo, tired? It was not Luo Wen who was panting, but two kind-hearted and strong middle-aged women. They insisted on going all the way to their own downstairs, just to save face and prevent Luo Wen from misunderstanding that they were not sincere. Otherwise, they would have sat down to rest halfway. no, 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 Wenji, there are food and daily necessities in here. It's so unhygienic to put them on the ground. Walk faster. We will arrive when we get into the elevator. It's just the last 2 steps. Ta-ta, ta-ta, The imagined plot was indeed developing as Luo Wen guessed. Because of his hesitation, Song Kyan and Tong Wenji even quickened their pace and walked into the elevator. Swish, no, 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 Song Kyan, wait a minute. I think I saw Yingzi and Fang Yifan hugging inside. Tong Wenji, who was thin and long-legged, retracted half of her body from the corner at a faster speed. In her uncertain tone, suspicion and disbelief were added. What? Let me see. Shh, keep your voice down. If things are not what we think, the children will be so embarrassed. Teacher Song, Fanfan's mother, how about letting me do it? Ahem. Luo Wen looked at the 2 mothers, feeling guilty and afraid. If he let them think about it, they might get pregnant before marriage, and all kinds of messy thoughts would pop up. It would be better for him to break the deadlock first. Hey, Teacher Luo, wait a minute. Ding Song Kyan and Tong Wenji wanted to hold Luo Wen back, but Fang Yifan and Kao Yingzi in the elevator had already walked into the elevator and left the crime scene. Teacher Song, Fanfan's mother, I think it's best to ask about this matter in person, and don't let there be any misunderstandings. Otherwise, give me the things. You should be busy when you go home. Chapter 329, Conflicts Among Ordinary People. The top priority for high school students is naturally to study hard. However, the hug between Kao Yingzi and Fang Yifan caught the parents of both parties by surprise. Their nerves were immediately tense and their spirits were highly tense. They were also at the parent-teacher meeting at school, where they were rehearsed for a psychological lecture on early love. Isn't this just a coincidence that the mother opened the door for Kao? Some things cannot be thought about in detail, let alone be associated with deep investigation. Otherwise, many details in life, as well as those normal daily actions, will have unusual meanings when interpreted with tinted glasses. Fang Yifan and Kao Yingzi, it can be said that they are childhood sweethearts who grew up together. Their usual behavior is particularly intimate and misunderstood, but they themselves did not associate it with this. What about arm in arm, or skin contact, even sharing a water cup and a milk tea straw? This is also something they are accustomed to. However, if it weren't for today's exposure, Song Kyan and Tong Wenji would never have thought about it. As a result, after having such a preconceived notion in their minds, everything they saw was ambiguous and suspicious and certain. You don't go out yet. If you don't explain some questions clearly, you won't be able to attend today's class. The angry Tong Wenji and Song Kyan were like angry tigers at this time. Not only was their momentum particularly serious and scary, but even their eyes were chilling. Kao Yingzi and Fang Yifan sat obediently in the living room of Fang Yuan's house, not even daring to breathe. No, Mom, Aunt Song, what are you doing? Yingzi and I still have classes. If there is anything, can't you wait until we get back from school to tell us? Anyway, Teacher Luo is not teaching the evening self-study today, so we have plenty of time. Fang Yifan and Kao Yingzi looked at each other, their eyes were dark and confused. They couldn't understand what the adults of these 2 families were doing. It was as if they had committed murder and arson, and had to accept a joint trial by the 3 courts. Who will speak first? Tong Wenji's inexplicable words made Kao Yingzi and Fang Yifan have big question marks in their heads. Say, what? Yes, Aunt Wenji, what do you want me to say to Fang Yifan? Tong Wenji saw that the 2 were going to fight to the bitter end, and threw a look at Fang Yuan. Oh, that, Fang Yifan, you give me your phone. Wearing an apron, Fang Yuan gave people the image of a good family man, without any aggression or deterrence. However, at this time, the expression on his face was not very good, and he looked particularly serious and solemn. Click, face unlock. No need to try passwords one by one like Kao Yingzi's phone, and Fang Yuan took the unlocked phone and opened WeChat very skillfully, and then found the chat records collected last night. This is a chat record between you and Yingzi, right? Yingzi, what's going on? Are you happy today at 880? Much happier. If you are unhappy at any time in the future, 770 is fine. Hey, you looked through my phone. Dad, how could you look through my phone? Fang Yifen's privacy was read out in public, and he almost stood up to grab it. Fortunately, Fang Yuan has always maintained a good relationship with Fang Yifen, and the father-son relationship between them is also very deep. Fang Yifen, sit down. I'm not peeking. Dad is concerned about you. Sit down. Come on, explain this. What's going on with 880 today, and what's going on with 770? Tell me clearly. Kyle Weidong, Song Kyan, Tong Wenji, Fang Yuan, as parents of 2 children, they really didn't sleep well all night. The more they thought about it, the more scared they were. Similarly, in order to prevent possible dangerous situations, they had to take strong measures. Yes, tell me quickly, what does 880 mean? And what is 770? What's wrong with me posting this? Why are you holding on to this? Bang, don't quibble, don't avoid the subject, just tell us, what does 770 and 880 mean? A slap was slapped on the dining table, and the cups, plates, and bowls on it all shook. Tong Wenji, who was indignant, also had signs of taking action. Kiss you, hug you. Wait, who are you going to kiss? Kyle Weidong was furious when he heard this, and he put down his arms, and was about to stand up. Obviously, as Kyle Ying's biological father, he suddenly heard a boy say such explicit words, and the object was his beloved daughter. Even if this boy was Fang Yifen, he would be furious, and his anger would soar 3 feet higher. No, uncle, this is a greeting between friends. For example, if Yingzi is unhappy today, I will hug you, touch your head, and then kiss you, which means mew mew mum. It is just a verbal term between friends. It is very simple, and does not have any deeper meaning. Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's normal among classmates, who get along well with each other in our class. Kyle Yingzi and Fang Yifen said this, as if it was nothing big, but they were emotional and deliberately magnified their imaginations. Okay, let's not talk about this. Let me ask you, what did you do in the elevator after school yesterday afternoon? Oh, Yingzi and I hugged each other in the elevator yesterday, and you saw it, right? Wait, you don't suspect that we are in a premature love relationship just because of this? Swish. Fang Yifen and Kyle Yingzi finally understood it. After all this time, they were misunderstood. Click, snap, hurry, we are going to be late. From suspecting that Kyle Yingzi and Fang Yifen were in a premature relationship, to their parents' distrust of them, to whether Fang Yifen and Kyle Yingzi could date in the future. Suddenly, Kyle Weidong and Fang Yuan, Song Kyan and Tong Wenji, had a disagreement. Even because of this possibility, they had a fierce argument and conflict. If it weren't for the 2 children rushing out with their school bags, I'm afraid the 4 adults would have started fighting. In front of the crowded Chunfeng Middle School, Song Kyan was watching over Kyle Yingzi in front, and Fang Yifen was left alone behind. It was like the innocent childhood friends who were suddenly interrupted by their parents. They had gender opposition, differences between men and women, and the troubles of adolescence. Haha, good morning, Teacher Lee. Yingzi, be good in school, and don't make me worry. Oh, got it. Teacher Song, why do you come to send Yingzi to school in person? You live so close, what are you worried about? Oh, I just come to send her off. By the way, Teacher Lee, please help take care of Yingzi in school. Li Meng always felt that something was wrong, but couldn't see what was unusual for a while. Looking at Fang Yifen hiding from Song Kyan, and then looking at Kyle Yingzi's back as she left alone. What was going on? Chapter 330, Mental Journey. Ding Yang Gang. Dad will definitely come for the family talk session this afternoon. Wait for me. Ji Yang Gang is changing. Whether it is his friends or the classmates around him, they can all feel it personally. He is no longer so arrogant, and no longer walks alone. After Ji Yang Gang received Ji Shengli's affirmative reply in the classroom, he also felt relaxed, and his mood became sunny and cheerful. Tap. Hey, what do you want to say to your parents at the talk session later? I don't know. What about you? Fang Ha, what do you plan to say to your family? Do you have a draft now? In the corridor outside the classroom, students are in groups of 2 or 3. Unlike the setting sun and a gradually cold temperature outside, the bright and clean teaching building is warm and exceptionally lively. Oh my god, if I knew, why would I ask you? I even said I was counting on you to give me some advice and tips. Haha, TSK, I feel like I have nothing to say to my parents. I can't just go back and tell them that I'm in love. Well, I'm going to go back and tell my parents that I'm in love and see how they react. Kang, your trick is really cruel. Alas, I've never been in love, alas. Judging from the results of the last midterm exam, Fang Yifan is a complete loser in study, but outside of study, he can be said to be a celebrity in the third year of high school, and the focus of attention wherever he goes. Hey, what's the big deal? I talk about everything with my mom at home. Wan Yidi has a striking figure, beautiful facial features, and a high black ponytail. She is really beautiful, and has an outstanding image. However, she is not very good at speaking. In addition, she has the problem of speaking freely. As a result, few people can become close friends with her. After all, a person who can't keep a secret is not a popular type among students, even if she is beautiful. Oh, of course you said everything. Your family is full of catfish spirits and can't keep things secret. Haha, Fang Yifa never gives Wan Yidi face, but Wan Yidi, who is nicknamed and teased by others, always seems to like to follow Fang Yifan around. Maybe this is also a kind of so-called happy enemies? The last class on Friday, self-study, was replaced by a free talk session. The students were very interested and walked to the basketball hall half nervously and half expectantly. Parents gradually gathered from all directions outside the school to Chunfeng Middle School. Dear students, dear parents, today's free talk session is related to the students' mental health and future growth and development. If we want to change in an orderly and benign direction, we can't do without the full cooperation of parents. Sun Yi, standing on the podium, was making the final explanation before the activity, and was also guiding and instructing everyone on the specific details and rules of the activity. After a thunderous applause, the teachers of each class took the students and parents back to their classes, because the classroom was the venue for the free talk session. Hello, Teacher Luo. Hey, Teacher Luo is here. Well, hello. The chairs in the classroom were placed in the corridor, and the parents and students of Class 1 and Class 2 of Senior 3, who were leaning against the wall, saw Luo Wen with a gentle face, and they also came forward to greet him cordially. Creak, Lear, have Fang Yifan and your aunt entered? Luo Wen naturally knew that Fang Yuan and Tong Wenji were in the classroom, and that they were having a conversation with Fang Yifan. However, as a student's teacher, he had to show up in some special circumstances. For example, Lin Lear, who was trained as a future technical officer, was the first suitable candidate selected by Luo Wen. He was focused and sensitive. Although his family of origin was somewhat unfortunate, and because of his introverted and sensitive personality, he was a little too sensible, but Luo Wen had a special appreciation and sympathy for him. Little boy, no worries. Is he singing? Heh, Teacher Luo, this should be him. Aunt, uncle-in-law, cousin, Teacher Luo Wen, Yingzi, Taozi, Ji Yang Gang. Lin Lear did feel the care and concern from everyone, but unfortunately, none of these could replace the blood connection and passionate emotions of his biological mother. Sometimes people feel lonely, so lonely that they only think of their mother, father, and their childhood memories. Some people are even driven crazy by this loneliness, but they have no good memories. You have a mother who loves you very much. Although she is gone, don't you always remember her in your heart? This belief and emotion will eventually make you stronger. A low voice with a special rhythm sounded softly beside Lin Lear's ears. Luo Wen patted Lin Lear on the shoulder, although he could not make any guarantees. However, Luo Wen also wanted to use such encouraging words to allow the talents he favored to overcome the various psychological tests and difficulties during the growth period, and grow into towering trees facing the sun, lying across the sky and the earth, and in the galaxy. Woo pa. Tears began to fall silently. Lin Lear didn't know why he received special care from Teacher Luo Wen. However, at this moment, or the first day he went upstairs to 404 to review and ate hot meals, he seemed to understand one thing, that is, this man and he must have a deeper bond. In the future, he will witness with his own eyes the magnificent things that ordinary people have never seen. It's hard to explain, and there is no factual basis, but Lin Lia can be very sure of the intuition that he regards as his second life. Exclamation mark. Pa, crying is not weakness, it is a testimony of growth. Lia, I believe you can become a person that people look up to. At that time, you will be the support of your family and the source of strength and faith for your relatives. He took out a pack of toilet paper from his coat pocket, opened it and gently placed it in Lin Lia's palm. Luo Wen finally patted the thin and resolute boy on the shoulder, and the concentration technique, a fresh and heartwarming power, slowly sank into Lin Lia's body along Luo Wen's palm. I don't agree, Yingzi. This time I'm like your mother. Let's stop here. If you want to go to Nanjing University, don't talk about it again. Qiao Yingzi turned her back to her parents and let the bitter tears keep falling down her face. Qiao Weidong and Song Qian were confused. Until now, they still didn't understand why Qiao Yingzi had to leave the north and identify Nanjing University in the south. Through the free talk meeting, she once again proposed to participate in the winter camp of Nanjing University. I know. The greatest sorrow is the death of the heart. Whether it is Qiao Weidong or Song Qian, they just want Qiao Yingzi to stay by their side and grow up step by step within their sight. However, such an idea is too heavy and too ruthless for Qiao Yingzi. Qiao Yingzi, with red eyes and tears, pushed the door open and walked out. Qiao Weidong and Song Qian, sitting in their original positions, suddenly seemed to have lost the most precious thing in their hearts. They wanted to chase out and say something. However, this disagreement between them and their children is their final bottom line. Sometimes, the person in charge is confused while the bystander is clear. The more some people care, the more they want to grasp something, but the result will only be counterproductive. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 331 More Than a Teacher. Ding dong. Hey, Yingzi, are you not going to Teacher Luo's house today? Huang Zitao, Ji Yang Gang, and Lin Lia were standing awkwardly at the door of 403. Huang Zitao was always urged by Qiao Yingzi to come, but today was a little abnormal. Qiao Yingzi didn't even reply to her message. Fang Yifan rang the doorbell, but he seemed to have thought of something bad. He quickly took 2 steps back and walked behind a few people, dodging as if there was someone he was afraid of in 403. Or, let's go to Teacher Luo's house first. It's almost time. It won't be good if we are late and make Teacher Luo angry. Teacher Luo is angry? Fang Yifan's reason seems to be hard to justify. It's been almost 3 months since we knew Teacher Luo, and no one has ever seen him lose his temper. At the chat yesterday, Yingzi seemed to have had a conflict with her parents. She stopped replying to messages while we were chatting in the evening. Is she sad at home, or is it that Aunt Song Qian doesn't let her go out? Everyone's eyes switched back and forth between the door and Fang Yifan. After all, they all knew about Fang Yifan and Yingzi's premature love. Hey, what are you looking at me for? Going to Teacher Luo's house to study is serious business. Aunt Song Qian can't be so cautious, right? There were rustling and whispering suspicion among the people. Click, they were attracted by the sound of a door opening, and they were a little nervous and worried. Now that you are here, why are you still outside and not coming in? The class is about to start. No one will be waited for after the time is up. Luo Wen pushed open the door and waved for them to come in. As for Qiao Yingzi, Luo Wen had already received her request for advice, saying that she was not feeling well today and wanted to rest at home for a day. Don't be sorry, Qiao Yingzi kept saying sorry on WeChat. Fortunately, Luo Wen also knew that she was in a low mood and uncomfortable at the moment, so he told her not to apologize, just rest at home this weekend and adjust herself. Oh, here I come, Teacher Luo, do you know what happened to Yingzi today? Yes, Yingzi didn't come. Why aren't you curious at all? Did she tell you in advance? Teacher Luo, I want to tell you something. After lunch, when everyone should have gone home for lunch break, Fang Yifan suddenly found Luo Wen, who was busy with flowers and plants on the balcony, while Huang Zitao and Ji Yang Guiyang were washing dishes and clearing the table in the kitchen. Automatic dishwasher? Isn't it normal to do some housework after dinner? Besides, it wasn't Luo Wen who ordered them to do it. How could such a thing discourage the initiative of several children? Oh, tell me, do you want to go to other institutions for one-on-one training, or do you plan to take the art exam, so that you can engage in literary and artistic work in the future? Mr. Luo, it seems that nothing can be hidden from you. Haha. My father took me to find a teacher at the Academy of Fine Arts. She said that I have talent in this area, so. However, you can rest assured that I will only go for special training for a period of time. I will take the exam in a few months. If I fail, it will not prevent me from continuing to take the college entrance examination next year. Fang Yifan is going to take the art exam, and Kaiao Yingzi is going to apply for Nanjing University. Only Huang Zitao, Lin Lia, and Ji Yang Guiyang are concentrating on completing the learning tasks assigned to them by Luo Wen. No matter what their ideas are, or whether they have received hints from certain people, however, Luo Wen's test of these three people has come to an end. Whether it is their character or ability, they are worthy of being included in the Keishian plan. That is Kaiao Yingzi and Fang Yifan. Luo Wen originally said that they are the main characters in the plot and the first two people to come into contact. Now, it seems that their sensitivity to the future, their choices in life, and their judgment are still a little lacking. Do they really only regard me as a substitute teacher? Are the special knowledge taught to them just social practice skills? Of course, I'm not a professional training institution here, and there are no restrictions. As long as you are willing to come, I have no objection. If you want to go somewhere else, I will not stop you. However, at many critical moments in life, there are not necessarily only what you see in front of you. There are more hidden opportunities that need to be discovered by yourself. Fang Yifan, the teacher has said all, and keep up the good work. Teacher Luo, the dishes are washed. We are leaving first. Come back at 3 PM. Fang Yifan was still in a daze, probably trying to understand what Luo Wen meant by what he said to him. Huang Zitao, Lin Lia, and Ji Yang Guiyang have already started to take their coats and prepare to go back to their homes for lunch. Although Luo Wen has a guest room at home, it is more or less inappropriate. Moreover, they also feel that disturbing Luo Wen every weekend has affected Luo Wen's normal life. If they don't leave any private space for teacher Luo, then as students, wouldn't it be too inhumane? Oh, Oklahoma, bye. Bang, the door was closed by them. The house, which was originally a little noisy, instantly fell into a quiet and peaceful atmosphere again. Luo Wen was like an old-fashioned who had entered old age in advance. He had no habit of spending money and drinking, and no huge interpersonal relationships to deal with. He was simple and lonely. He only tutored his children at home, did housework, and raised flowers and plants. Or he was alone in the studio, tapping and recording something. Of course, these were all done by Luo Wen for outsiders to see. In other words, he actually enjoyed such a leisurely and comfortable life without so many ups and downs. In some worlds, human lives are worthless, human ethics are degraded, fighting and killing, and blood is boiling. And sometimes, you need to race against time. The system tasks have strict task requirements, and Luo Wen must also try his best, or devote his body and mind to it. In this modern world of small joys, Luo Wen was as lazy as if he were on vacation. It was just right to sort out what he had gained before, and adjust his mentality and outlook for the future to a better state. Putting down the spray bottle in his hand, and taking off the gauze gloves, Luo Wen clapped his hands lightly, and a layer of fine floating dust automatically floated from his skin and clothes to the flower pot. Creak, creak. Xinghuo, contact the research institute and let them prepare to carry out the first phase of the test launch mission. The studio full of blow light screens was automatically switched to Luo Wen's work mode by artificial intelligence after the children left. As soon as he walked in the real-time picture of the holographic projection, the secret research institute hidden in the mountains, the various departments inside, and the scenes of complicated personnel and orderly work were spread within Luo Wen's field of vision. Mr. Lee, how is the prototype now? Haha, separated by a straight line distance of more than 100 kilometers, Luo Wen's video communication did not have a delay of a second. And the old man with an excited face, and a white coat with some wrinkles and messy wrinkles, although the bloodshot in his eyes was a little dense, but his clear eyes were particularly focused and shot out. Director, it's amazing. No, no, no. If such data is released, I'm afraid all countries will be shocked, and then there will be deep fear of our country's epoch-making scientific and technological progress. Haha. In the central location of the launch site, a huge sci-fi creation has been roughly formed. Many white coats are going in and out to do system testing and final confirmation work. At this time, through the fiberglass curtain wall behind Li Jingsu and the images taken by the full sensing cameras, Luo Wen can clearly see the details of vacation number 1 prototype. As his eyes are focused, the artificial intelligence will also perform corresponding zooming and magnification operations. Visual capture, the technological level of this plane can do it, not to mention the spark artificial intelligence that exists across civilization levels. Luo Wen, a time traveler who travels across time and space to complete system tasks, cannot simply be considered as a substitute physics teacher just because of his low profile or harmless and gentle performance. It is his personal habit to make a splash when he does not make a sound. Chapter 332 Uninvited Guests. It was almost 1 AM, and the north wind was howling. Qiao Yingzi, who had no intention of sleeping, was in the darkest moment of her life. Her father moved out of Shuxiang, not because of anything else, but because Qiao Yingzi took the initiative to ask for it. In her life trajectory, the image of her father has always been missing. And because the college entrance examination is approaching, such sudden attention and care, as well as various entanglements and troubles, made it impossible for her to make normal and rational judgments. Creak, creak, who, hiss, it's so cold. Who's there? Qiao Yingzi couldn't sleep, not just today, but for several consecutive days. Since she asked her father to move out, the relationship between her and her mother did not ease as she expected at the beginning. Instead, she felt lost. Both mother and daughter had an inexplicable depression and uneasiness brewing. Of course, Song Kyan is an adult with strong psychological adaptability. She has her own job and a daughter to take care of. No matter how uncomfortable she is, she will stick to it and ensure that she is in a sober state every day to deal with the pressure and challenges from life and family. Qiao Yingzi is different. Her father's move away and the gap between her mother and her have left her with nowhere to vent her emotions and troubles. She used to get along well with Ji Yang Guiyang's mother, but unfortunately, after Aunt Ella Yujing was diagnosed with breast cancer, they rarely had the opportunity to be alone as friends of different ages. Moreover, out of friendship, Qiao Yingzi couldn't confide her negative emotions to a patient. By the way, there is also Teacher Luo. Teacher Luo is actually a more suitable person to tell her thoughts and adjust her mood. Unfortunately, Teacher Luo is a man, and sometimes his words are ambiguous and profound. She needs to think hard when she hears them. If Fang Yifan's early love incident hadn't happened, Qiao Yingzi might still go to Mr. Luo to confide in him. At least when Luo Wen didn't talk about big principles, he was gentle and quiet, and he was really suitable for talking about personal matters. But, yes, who made her have a mother Song Kyan who had a strong desire for control? If she misunderstood Mr. Luo because of this, her sin would be even greater. Qiao Yingzi's insomnia, depression, inner pressure, and muddled mental state really tightened her lonely nerves all the time, and it was possible that at any time, it would snap and break directly. Walking downstairs in the community, the cold weather made Qiao Yingzi's chaotic mental state lighter, but her eyes were bright for a moment, and then dimmed in an instant, and in her peripheral vision, she seemed to see a vague figure climbing over Ji Yang Guiyang's yard. Click, rustle. The figure was indeed a person, not some supernatural event. When he turned around, Qiao Yingzi finally saw his appearance in the brightness of the street lamp. He was thin, with a nervous expression on his face, wearing black framed glasses. When he saw Qiao Yingzi, this boy of about the same age timidly lowered his head, looking a little scared. Click, The boy did not continue to be shy, but mustered up the courage to raise his head, then stopped climbing over the wall in the bushes, and walked to a few steps away from Kyo Yingzi. Hi. Kyo Yingzi was frightened by his dangerous signal, and hid a few steps back. When she was about to run to the unit door, hey, the boy showed a sincere smile, and waved to her. Why does this person look familiar? Hey, Kyo Yingzi, hello, I'm your mother's student in the previous class. My name is Ding Yi. Ding Yi. Oh, I was among the senior high school students taught by my mother. I've seen you a few times. Wait a minute, didn't you get into college? Why are you here in the middle of the night? Ding Yi used to rent a house, which is now the one where Ji Yang Guiyang lives. Moreover, Kyo Yingzi did know the young boy in front of her. There was a time when she took him as an example and aspired to learn from him. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I didn't go to college. What? You didn't go? College is so good. Why didn't you go after you got in? Kyo Yingzi's own confusion was temporarily put aside. At least in front of this familiar yet somewhat strange big boy, she did have some doubts and curiosity. Yes, college is pretty good. I just can't sleep. He can't sleep either? I couldn't sleep all night, so I couldn't go to school. Oh, by the way, what are you doing here alone in the middle of the night? Ha. Creak, creak. Ding Yi is supposed to be an adult who has entered college life, at least more mature than Yingzi. But at this moment, not only did he speak in a strange tone, but he also turned his head to the side quietly, looking at the grass by the roadside, with a withered twig in his hand, snapping it subconsciously. However, after confirming that there was no danger, Kyo Yingzi didn't think there was anything strange about the big boy in front of her. After all, wasn't she also wandering downstairs alone in the middle of the night? I can't sleep either. Oh, Ding Yi, you haven't told me yet. Why are you here? Well, I came here to look for something. Yes, in their house. When the purpose was mentioned, the absent-minded Ding Yi suddenly became alert and gestured that he wanted to go into the yard just to look for something, and he was not a bad person. Things, what are they? How about I help you find it tomorrow? No, haha, you can't find it. Thank you. The two were speechless for a while, or Ding Yi had no intention of continuing to chat with Kyo Yingzi. Yes, by the way, I have something to do. I'll leave first. I'll talk to you next time when I'm free. Haha, bye. A little nervous, a little embarrassed, a little uneasy, and a little bit neurotic, Ding Yi waved his hand to say goodbye, and then used the action of zipping up his coat to cover up his poor performance. When he walked past Kyo Yingzi, he did not forget to turn his head to look in the yard of Ji Yang Guiyang's house, as if he really wanted to go in and find something. Hey, Ding Yi, where are you going now? Are you going home, or? Kyo Yingzi was under a lot of pressure, and her mental and physical conditions were very bad, but her speech and rationality were still normal. Ding Yi's repeated abnormal behavior finally made Kyo Yingzi aware of the abnormality, or rather, she felt uneasy, and was afraid that Ding Yi would have an accident. Oh, I wish you a good sleep. Yes, I wish you a good sleep. Ding Yi, who behaved strangely, gave Kyo Yingzi his last sincere smile, and hurried towards the exit of the community. Kyo Yingzi was still a little worried, but the person had already gone far away, and she didn't know what to do, or rather, her own condition did not allow her to do anything at this time. Creak, creak. Yingzi, it's so late, don't you plan to go home and sleep? A familiar voice sounded behind her. Kyo Yingzi took the step she had just taken, and then retracted it. Teacher Luo? What's wrong with you? When did you come out? Why didn't I hear anything just now? I came down when you were talking to that guy called Ding Yi. What's wrong? Are you worried about something? Chapter 333 Showdown. The sound of the wind rustled. Kyo Yingzi opened her eyes wide, not understanding why she kept bumping into people downstairs at night. But Teacher Luo's coat was really warm. Moreover, a fresh and comfortable breath made Kyo Yingzi, whose brain was groggy, start to relax involuntarily. On the rest bench beside the flower bed, a slender and handsome young man who looked powerful, after taking off his coat, was calmly and naturally putting his coat on a timid and pitiful young girl. Then, Luo Wen sat on the right side of the bench, while Kyo Yingzi, whose face was slightly flushed, sat on the left side of the bench. Between them, there was a half-meter gap, and it seemed that the teacher and student pair were consciously keeping a safe distance. "Would you like some chocolate? You seem to have hypoglycemia." Luo Wen pointed to the pocket of Kyle Ying's coat, and then used his eyes to signal her face, which looked a little pale. He was originally just at home, meditating and practicing the Maotian Orthodox method. However, the noise of Kyle Yingzi opening the door, and her low and negative footsteps, made Luo Wen a little worried. Alas, after spending a long time together, people will inevitably develop feelings. Sometimes it is friendship, sometimes it is the concern between teachers and students, and sometimes it is love between men and women. Of course, Luo Wen's feelings for Kyle Yingzi can only be the second one. Oh, thank you Teacher Luo. Your mother has already told me that you want to study at Nanjing University. She wants me to enlighten you, and I agreed. Gurgle. As the vanilla-flavored chocolate went into her stomach, there was an inexplicable warm and comfortable atmosphere surrounding her. The heaviness on Kyle Ying's body and the pressure in her heart seemed to be relieved a lot. She swallowed the chocolate in her mouth in one gulp. Teacher Luo, you are not like my mom and dad, trying to persuade me to stay in the capital and not pursue my dream, right? Surprised and unbelievable, Kyle Yingzi showed such an attitude and excitement to Luo Wen for the first time. Don't worry, the teacher hasn't finished speaking yet. I did promise Teacher Song and I really want you to stay. However, I didn't persuade you to get into Tsinghua or Peking University, but to get you a place as a recommended student of USTC. Or, your dream is a little too simple, and I want you to realize a greater ideal in life. What? Recommended? And to realize a greater ideal in life? Teacher Luo, what do you want to say? Haha, I'm soft-hearted. I ended the probation period for you in advance. This weekend, you and I will go to a place where you can find all the answers you want to know. It is difficult for some people to accept new things beyond their own cognition. Some people can't even recognize the world they live in. They are easily affected by rumors and changes in the external environment, which affect their thinking and judgment. Some people, well, even disdain their own lives. Swish, Luo Wen stood up from the bench, and Kyle Yingzi, who looked puzzled, watched Luo Wen start to run back. Although she didn't know why, she followed him. This was the only thought in her mind at this time. Teacher Luo, wait for me, wait for me. Papa, Papa, when she ran back to the downstairs of her unit, she heard a voice of rooftop from the stairwell again, but she couldn't see Luo Wen. Kyle Yingzi, who was out of breath, decisively chose to take the elevator. When she arrived at the rooftop, Teacher Luo, with a weird expression on his face, was holding a young man who was unconscious with his eyes closed, sitting on the dusty ground. Isn't this Dingy who left before? Mr. Luo, what happened to him? Oh, maybe he's just like you, a poor guy who suffers from psychological pressure and behaves abnormally. Under Kyle Ying's incomprehensible gaze, Luo Wen's lowered eyes were already shining with a golden light, and then the soul condensation technique was directly stimulated and reflected into the sea of consciousness of this young man with glasses. Soul condensation technique, concentration of mind. These two are both spells related to the sea of consciousness, soul, and concentration of mind, but soul condensation technique consumes more mana, and is more difficult to learn. The effect is to restore people's mind, and re-establish their yearning, and hope for life. Concentration of mind is a bit like a wake-up call, which has the effect of refreshing the mind, and the primary concentration of mind is also easy to master. Soul condensation technique is different. It targets mysterious and obscure souls, especially ordinary people like Dingy, who suffer heavy psychological pressure and cannot rely on themselves to resolve and transfer. In the end, it has evolved into this, preferring to die to seek physical and mental relief. Of course, modern medicine explains that it is severe depression. For example, Luo Wen artificially cast the evil spirit on Wen Qiang's ex-husband in his main world, which caused people to suffer great psychological pressure and horrible hallucinations, and finally they could only seek relief by dying. Oh, what do you think my mother is thinking? She has never made money that she shouldn't have made in her life. Why does she make this money? and my father. Both of them are intellectuals, but they are engaged in pyramid schemes. Oh, they are really good, my god. Fang Yuan sighed and grumbled. His voice was a little hoarse because he went to the recording studio to shout for a day to earn some labor fees for an assistant director he met on the day. He had not fully recovered yet. As a result, he received a phone call during the day and he thought it was a scam. He said he was a policeman. He never thought that it was a real policeman. Fang Yuan's retired parents, instead of enjoying their retirement life, went out to invest in business, study, go on business trips, raise funds, and recruit people to join. In the end, in addition to a bunch of no-name products, the pyramid scheme leader ran away, and the two elderly people were blocked at the police station by relatives and friends. Lying in bed at night, Fang Yuan's throat was hoarse and uncomfortable, and his heart was full of anger. There were blisters at the corners of his mouth, which made people anxious. However, Tong Wenji, who was sitting next to him, was exceptionally sober, or in other words, still rational. Click. The ballpoint pen for calculating accounts was pressed down. Don't nag about it. It has already happened. What's the point of talking about it now? You stand up and take a look. I have calculated all the accounts, all added up to 920,000. Whoosh. Click. Fang Yuan sat up, heard the number of nearly 1 million. His eyes blurred again, and he lay down directly. He is unemployed now, barely driving an online car-hailing car to earn some living expenses to supplement the family income. And Tong Wenji is also facing problems at work and is considering resigning with the pressure of this 1 million debt and the living expenses of nearly 40,000 to 50,000 per person. How can they live in the future? How much money will we have left after we fill this hole? Yes, it is a duty as children to fill the hole. Otherwise the old man will have more psychological pressure. But after the hole is filled, our family will only have a few 100,000 savings. No, isn't this the only asset we have after all these years? Hey, that's easy for you to say. We have to pay off the mortgage, maintain the car, and now we have 2 children in the 3rd year of high school. It's already good enough that we can save more than 1 million from our income. Fang Yuan and Tong Wenji in the room were sighing, and Fang Yifan, who was standing outside the door and eavesdropping, suddenly felt that his family seemed to have reached a critical moment of life and death, and he should take the initiative to do something to help his family. Chapter 334 Ideals Come into Reality. Fang Yifan, what are you and Lin Lia going to do? The art exam was not over, but Fang Yifan did not go to the training class anymore, and even cancelled the activity of going to Luo Wen's house to study, until this Saturday morning. 2 teenagers in suits, and with their hair combed like adults were blocked by Luo Wen, who came downstairs. We are going to. Teacher Luo, my aunt's family has financial problems, and we have to find a way to make money now. I made an appointment with someone today to go to their house to give them tutoring. Fang Yifan's eyes rolled around, but facing Luo Wen's deep eyes that saw into people's hearts, he couldn't come up with a reasonable excuse for a long time. Instead, Lin Lia told Luo Wen the truth in detail, adjusted his glasses, and honestly told Luo Wen the truth. I know, Teacher Song told me that these are problems that adults should solve. It's not your turn to worry about it for 2 senior high school students like you. However, your parents will be very touched if they know that you can do this. Well, Teacher Luo, since you know everything, we won't hide it from you. No matter how big or small the power is, I want to do my best. Our time is almost up, you see. Fang Yifan was less unreliable than usual, and more mature and sensible. Lin Lia was less introverted and timid, and more resolute and courageous to face the problem. It seems that this is the growth and change brought by life and experience, right? Don't worry, I'm not going to stop you from sharing the pressure of the family. I'm just notifying you that I will be at home at 12 noon. I have something to tell you. It's a good thing. Haha. Fang Yifan wanted to ask again, but the time was approaching, and the key was that Luo Wen had already strode away to another exit. They had no choice but to rush to the customer's house with doubts and confusion. Oh, no, Yingzi, where is Teacher Luo taking us? Should I say hello to my uncle first, so that he won't worry? Huang Zateo sat on the sofa, drinking the delicious jasmine tea that only teacher Luo's family has. Ji Yang Yang, who was wearing a hat, seemed to have undergone a new change. There was less confusion and hesitation in his eyes, and there was a bright light of firmness and belief, as well as a trace of family affection called cherishment. I don't know either. Teacher Luo said that the place we are going this time is confidential. For the sake of safety, we can't tell other people. Wait, Teozi, you are not afraid that Teacher Luo will sell us out? How is that possible? Teacher Luo is a professor. Besides, it's not the first day we have known Teacher Luo. What is there to be afraid of with so many people together? Ji Yang Yang spoke up and gave his opinion. At the same time, he firmly expressed his position on Luo Wen's side. His mother was sick, and he had finally returned to live with his family, but now he had to endure such a difficult test. He was already a little desperate, and was about to accept this fact, but Teacher Luo asked him, Yang Yang, do you believe in miracles? Boom boom. The three young men and women in the living room were chatting about a very curious topic, and the aroma of food gradually shifted the topic in the living room from over there to over here. Ding dong, ding dong. Teacher Luo, I'll open the door, you continue. Click, Yingzi, you are here too. Teacher Luo, Leah and I are here. At 12:30, Luo Wen drove a brand new X7. There were 6 people in the group this time, so it was impossible for them to sit in the coupe. As the 7-seater SUV left the city center and walked onto the national highway, the surrounding buildings gradually decreased, and the withered yellow and dark green in sight became more and more. The mood of the boys and girls also changed from the initial warm and fresh to a little nervous. You can send the location to your parents after you arrive at the place, but you can't tell them everything you see, including the route along the way, and what I said to you later. Luo Wen drove the X7, handy and steady, and took the time to tell them the precautions with a gentle face and soft words. Of course, the reason why he said this specifically was to relieve the tension of these children. Salute. Camouflage uniforms, loaded automatic rifles, a booth every 3 steps, a guard every 5 steps. This may be a bit exaggerated, but looking up, you can see tall street lights everywhere, and 360-degree full sensing cameras. This is obviously a confidential military unit with a super high security level. The original worry that Teacher Luo Wen might be a person you know, but not his heart disappeared without a trace in an instant. Instead, the mood that was gradually relaxing began to become particularly nervous at this time, and full of expectations. Squeak, creak, creak, the electric controller was pressed, and the metal channel slowly opened. The super strong alloy with a thickness of 50 centimeters, the weight alone, is probably no less than several hundred tons. Wow, this is too exaggerated, isn't it? Teacher Luo, you are really a hidden talent, and you showed us a lot when you showed it. Fang Yifan was amazed, and Kaiao Yingzi became optimistic and cheerful again after the pressure was released. At this time, their horizons were really opened, as if they had come to a secret base, and they were also particularly surprised and excited. To be honest, according to their personalities, if they didn't end up as a couple, it would be a bit unreasonable. Creak, bang. Come down, director. This is a temporary pass. Welcome to the Spark Research Institute. X7 just stopped in the parking space. Luo Wen opened the door and walked down first, took the white coat handed by the person, and put it on himself. As the director of the Spark Research Institute, he has the highest authority and can pass by face recognition. Naturally, these little classmates cannot enjoy such high-level treatment for the time being, but it is already very good to have a temporary pass. The mayor of a city, the commander of an army, or the garrison troops outside, have no right to come here. Temporary passes are still a luxury for many people. Wang Meng, who has a high ponytail, shows a smooth calf like a white lotus root, and a pair of white sneakers on his feet. The entire base is directly driven by the temperature regulator, because of the use of the spark reactor. It is spring-like and extremely comfortable all year round. Those younger single female researchers naturally put some thought into dressing up. In addition to the loose white coat, other positions, hairstyles that meet the regulations, delicate light makeup on the face, etc. Just like the intellectual and beautiful Wang Meng, she may be a senior talent that people are vying to hire in society, a proper elite class, but in the Spark Research Institute, her achievements and experience are actually dwarfed by those of Li Jingsu, a scholar, not to mention that Li Jingsu admires director Luo Wen from the bottom of his heart, full of personal worship. Wang Meng had the opportunity to meet the mysterious director himself. The key is that he is more elegant and handsome than the photo. Dong dong, dong dong. Her heart was surging. It was hard for a single woman in her prime not to have beautiful fantasies and the impulse to get close to Luo Wen. Wang Meng, is Mr. Li still in the control room now? Oh, yes. Mr. Li basically eats and lives in it, but the computer didn't send him your schedule. Otherwise he would definitely come to greet you in person. Wang Meng's usual elegance and coldness turned into tenderness at this moment when the director called her name. She was just short of cheering and encouragement. This can't be blamed on her. If it were any normal woman, she would hear praise and admiration for Luo Wen day and night, and it would be hard not to be curious and expectant about him. Let's go. Follow me closely. You will have the opportunity to personally experience everything in here in the future. Now, what I want to show you is the most important part here. Oh, I see. Teacher Luo. Several people were a little stunned and a little restrained. It might be the first time they saw Luo Wen's unique and majestic side, and it was also the first time they knew that such a large scientific research base was actually led by teacher Luo Wen. The mature beauties standing in front of them all had a look of fanaticism and admiration for teacher Luo. It was really incredible. Chapter 335 Cation Plan. Bang bang hiss this. This is a spaceship. Hello, director. Hello, director. Well, thank you for your hard work, Mr. Li. I think you should relax a little. It's not good to be too tense. Luo Wen led a few high school students into the command room full of computer screens and many scientific research monitoring personnel. The LED light source on the ceiling filled the entire space. Everything in the command room was clearly visible. Everything was so clear and so clear. On the ground, reinforced anti-slip material was laid. There was a metallic banging sound when stepping on it, but it was a new type of synthetic chemical material that was insulated and wear resistant. Luo Wen first responded to the researcher who greeted him, and then saw the old man standing by the fiberglass curtain wall, who was focused and dared not relax at all, and shouted softly, just like he didn't dare to use too much strength, for fear that this white-haired old man who was devoted to the country would be like a candle before dawn, which could be blown out by the wind at any time. TSK, 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 amazing, amazing. Mr. Luo is too good. Taozi, Yingzi, you said Mr. Luo brought us here. Is it to recruit talents, to take us in? Fang Yifan was overwhelmed. His 2 eyes were not enough, of course. Other men and women were not much different from him, just not as exaggerated as him. The shock was blocked in the throat, and was taken by Fang Hao first. Several people lay on the fiberglass curtain wall, looking at the dream creation on the launch site, and couldn't move their eyes away. This is not a movie, this is not a rocket reported in the ordinary news, or a space shuttle eliminated by developed countries, but a huge spacecraft comparable to the size of an aircraft carrier. Look at its streamlined fuselage, shining with matte silver grey metal everywhere, and the entire spacecraft is in the shape of an elliptical water drop. It doesn't look like a product of modern technology at all, but like an advanced alien civilization, or a science fiction movie directly into the real world. Haha, the director is here. Don't worry, I'm an old man. I know what's going on. Before the Cation project is announced as a success, I will hold my breath. Hey, are these the first batch of space talents you selected? Li Jingsu was a little unsure, because Fang Yifan and Kao Yingzi looked like high school students at first glance. Compared with the professionals of the National Space Center, why do we need these children to drive and control the Cation? Of course, this institute is private, and all the technology and information are provided by Director Luo Wen. Even the funds come from him. Li Jingsu is very grateful to Luo Wen for being able to stay here exceptional. Naturally, he can't interfere, and he can't question Luo Wen. Why? The biological research laboratory, the first generation of medical warehouses has reached the stage of live testing. I think you should go and experience it. Maybe you can witness the first and third stages of the Cation project with your own eyes. Ah. Hiss. Fang Hao. Taozi, that old man who was talking to teacher Luo, doesn't he look familiar to you? Li Jingsu was still surprised at how well Luo Wen knew the entire institute. There was even some news that he didn't have time to learn about in detail. After all, the various laboratories and the emergence of various new technologies had long exceeded the upper limit of his imagination. Besides, manpower is limited. His major is nuclear physics, and he also focuses on this aspect. He lives and eats in the command room every day. He is still old. Hey, isn't that academician Li who appeared in the physics textbook? No way. Hey, he looks like him. Really like a living scientist. This is unbelievable. Who is teacher Luo? Even scientists of this level seem to be obedient to him. I brought you here, not only to help you solve some of the pressures you are facing, but as a teacher who teaches you specific skills. I formally invite you to join the Cation project. The Spark Research Institute is a scientific research institution that provides technical support for the Cation project and has reached cooperation with the country. These high school students, of course, could not be invited to join the Spark Research Institute. They can only be said to be preparatory students of the subordinate institution Cation project. Teacher Luo, what is the Cation project? Mr. Lee. No, let the director do it himself. After all, the future of the motherland belongs to you young people. Besides, you know more about the Cation project than I do. You are the founder, right? Oh. After a few words, the teenagers seemed to understand the key. It seems that Mr. Luo Wenluo's position as director is not just a false title, but a real talent and ability. The Cation project is one of the key projects of the Spark Research Institute. It is now the critical time to accept the results of the first phase. You will be the first batch of formal students of the Cation project. Passing my assessment is only the first step. After you are sure to join, there will be more rigorous and arduous training waiting for you. The Cation project, the first batch of formal students, God-given opportunities, leaving a name in history. Not only the ancients had such obsessions, which modern people are not like this. Teacher Luo, I'll join. Teacher Luo, I believe in you, I'll join too. The first person to agree was naturally Kao Yingzi, who had seen her dream come true. She had been obsessed with the universe and the stars since she was a child. Now she actually had the opportunity to step into the stars directly, so she naturally couldn't miss it easily. As for other people, even if they hadn't had such an idea before, the so-called pursuit of life, compared with the common pursuit of mankind, there was no need to hesitate. Very good, then I will continue to explain to you the first phase of the Cation plan. The Cation is 500 meters long and has a total mass of 50,000 tons. It realizes fully automated control by artificial intelligence. However, in order to ensure reliability, the standing spacecraft control personnel will also be stationed in synchronous training after the Cation completes the test flight, until the first spaceflight mission is carried out on February 19th. This is too radical, isn't it? Kao Yingzi dreams of becoming an astronaut, Huang Zitao dreams of becoming a doctor, Ji Yang dreams of becoming a professional racing driver, Lin Lie wants to be a scientist, and as for Fang Yifan, he has also transformed from an entertainment star to a space star. According to the different positions I have given you, you will come to this base for training at the beginning of the winter vacation until the end of the spaceflight mission. As for whether you want to go back to make up for the experience of the college entrance examination, or continue to strengthen your training, it is up to you to choose. However, on June 1st, we will carry out the second phase of the long-term mission, and you better be mentally prepared. Navigator, Commander, Technical Officer, Medical Officer, Combat Mecha Pilot, these are the future job goals of the 5 teenagers. No, these are the future job goals of the 5 new members, and also Luo Wen's expectations for them. Teacher Luo, when can we tell our families about this news, or talk about this with other people? Yes, after all, they are still a group of children. After completing the first phase of the spaceflight mission, the confidentiality restrictions on the Cation project will be lifted. Perhaps, you can give a space greeting to your friends against the backdrop of the endless space. Haha, yeah, that's great. Luo Wen looked at them, but knew that he could no longer be like them, laughing when he wanted to laugh, and crying when he wanted to cry. However, compared to the emotional feelings at the moment, his goal might be more worth fighting for and persisting. By the way, Jiang Gang, when you go back, let your father come to me. It's just cancer. There's no need to make the atmosphere at home so depressed and sad. Several people suddenly stopped cheering and excited, and looked at Luo Wen with doubts. Luo Wen responded with affirmative eyes. At the same time, he also remembered that he had clearly reminded Liu Jing at the beginning, but why did Ji Shengli prefer to let her choose chemotherapy instead of taking the initiative to seek help from him? Did the superiors give him an order, or did they think I was not very reliable? Since the medical warehouse has been successfully developed, cell level repair is no longer a problem. Of course, limb regeneration and cell optimization are also a piece of cake, but it is not as effective as the gene enhancement agent, and it is not as domineering as the advanced elixir refined by Luo Wen. Teacher Luo, are you saying that my mother's breast cancer can be cured? Well, the first generation of medical warehouse has such a function. Cell level repair only takes a few minutes. Just ask your parents to come over at any time. Teozi, this is also your first learning task. Chapter 336, Peak at the beginning. The final exams of the senior year of high school are over, and no one cares about the results anymore. At least the 20 teenagers selected by Luo Wen have received the admission notice of the University of Science and Technology of China. In other words, when the time comes, they will be issued with the graduation certificates of the top universities. The skills they will master and learn, as well as the more complex knowledge of space science, are not available in other schools, except the Spark Research Institute here by Luo Wen. Ji Shengli brought Liu Jing to the secret base with mixed feelings. Then, accompanied by Wang Meng and Huang Zitao, Liu Jing lay in the nanometal medical cabin of Black Technology. In less than 3 minutes, Liu Jing, who originally had a pale face, stood up and walked down in the treatment suit. She looked radiant and ruddy. It seems that not only the cancer cells were cured, but also the whole body cells were repaired and optimized. Happy family, good health, and a promising future. This year's spring festival is ordinary and extraordinary. Not only the children's future is extremely bright and worthy of encouragement, but also the families that Luo Wen knows are also full of good news. Fang Yifen's parents, maybe because they left their jobs and stayed at home, gave him another brother or sister. Luo Wen took a look and was sure it was a girl, but he just smiled and said nothing. There was no need to tell them. Ji Shengli has a happy family and a smooth career. Perhaps because of the special connection between him and Luo Wen, he was also valued by the organization and entrusted with important tasks. As for Song Kaian and Kaiao Weidong from Kaiao Ying's family, they may have gone around in circles and finally realized that the original wife is the best truth and remarried to form their original family. Pan Shuo's perseverance touched Li Meng's heart and they officially confirmed their relationship. As for Chunfeng Middle School, 20 students were directly admitted to top universities, which was also a jubilant and proud thing. Hello, everyone. I'm Zhao Kexin, the live reporter for this event. Due to its special nature, only invited news media from several countries are invited to enter the Spark Research Institute. Following our camera, let me introduce the public authorized area to everyone. The Nanometer Research Institute, the Biological Science Research Laboratory, the Synthetic Materials Research Laboratory, and the Carbon Crystal Battery Research Laboratory all have corresponding finished product showrooms, which are also the areas that Luo Wen authorized them to shoot. As for the fusion reactor, energy converter, energy weapon, space engine, and field generator, these key projects related to military use or related to the core secrets of the country are the most confidential of the confidential, and of course they are strictly guarded. Anyway, the Spark Artificial Intelligence is in charge, and she does not care about the worldly affairs. The only supreme authority to obey is Luo Wen. Anyone who thinks she has the ability to break through her defense mechanism and is not afraid of the terrifying power of energy weapons can give it a try. Oh, God, what is all this? We are finished. Here, we have to do something. Yes, we must do something. Otherwise, how can we be their opponent in the future space competition? No, except for the broadcast signal. The communication channel is blocked. We can only rely on ourselves. The sneaky reporters and representatives from other countries were either whispering, or had a sullen face, with an obscure light in their eyes, that was determined to fight to the death. Unfortunately, they thought they were doing it very secretly, but they didn't know that there were owls in every corner, and the full sensing detectors, or monitors, installed on them recorded everything in the central intelligent brain, keeping full tracking and monitoring of them at all times. Beep beep, short and rapid alarms began to sound in the base, and then the yellow warning lights began to flash. Cation is about to enter the launch phase. Relevant personnel please go to the command center. I repeat, Cation is about to enter the launch phase. Relevant personnel please go to the command center. Click. Wow, the rumbling launch well was opened, and the sunlight outside the valley was also projected on the silver gray Cation. Dreamy and dizzying. Not only the researchers and the entire base stopped what they were doing, but also stood quietly in front of the broadcast monitor. The command center was even more crowded with people, and their eyes were all looking at the handsome young man with a calm face at the main control console. What are they waiting, expecting, and hoping for? Intention. Countdown preparation. Start the propulsion engine. Increase the energy output of the anti-gravity engine. Cation received. Start the thruster. Increase the energy output of the anti-gravity engine. Base. Wish us good luck. The camera switched. In the Cation's bridge command room, a middle-aged man with a determined face, Tang Changsheng, was the commander assigned by the country to the Spark Research Institute, retaining his military rank, but accepting Luo Wen's leadership, and now he was the captain of the Cation. Below Captain Tang Changsheng, there were several rows of holographic display screens, as well as young operators with green faces, navigators, communicators, technical officers, and medical officers. Among them, many were familiar faces to Luo Wen, that is, his students, such as Fang Yifan, Ji Yang, Lin Lia, Huang Zitao, Kao Yingzi. At this time, everyone was wearing nano spacesuits, solemnly following the training content, and performing the spacecraft to key off operation step by step. Boom, blue energy particle stream gushed out from the belly of Cation, and the Cation, which kept the anti-gravity engine running, began to rise slowly. The fiberglass curtain wall is not only radiation proof, but also heat insulating. It is highly transparent, corrosion resistant and wear resistant, which made the foreigners who saw such a spectacular scene for the first time swallow the saliva in their throats with lingering fear, and finally stood up their frightened bodies. Ground height 100, lifting speed 100. It is recommended to turn on the force field generator. Turn on the force field generator, increase the energy output power, increase the speed to 200, and enter the low Earth orbit as soon as possible. Yes. In the orderly command room of Cation, Captain Tang Changsheng was issuing orders one by one, and those young operators and crew members were completing various operations in a tense and efficient manner. Practice makes perfect. Compared with the more stable middle-aged people, they don't seem to be so unbearable, and even do better. Wow, a spaceship, a spaceship. Fuck, it's so secretive. I thought aliens invaded. The country is too secretive. The Spark Research Institute is awesome. The audience, who dared not even breathe, or the eyes of the whole world, were all shocked, with different expressions: excitement, joy, excitement, nervousness, fear, worry. The people of the country were naturally excited, and they were just about to celebrate on the streets, while other countries were envious, jealous, and hateful, and it was a pity that the Cation was like an ancient beast, and it was like an alien object. It crossed the sky at a very fast speed, and then disappeared in the blue sky, leaving them with not much time to imagine. The camera also switched to the detection field sent back by the Cation, the endless starry sky, the gradually moving away planets, and those primitive satellites that unfolded solar sails and were extremely backward. It was really shocking. At least at this stage, when mankind is moving towards interstellar civilization, it has nothing to do with race or country. Everyone hopes that the Cation can fly farther and represent mankind moving forward further. Chapter 337 Mission completed. On the Lantern Festival, the ancient country in the east unexpectedly launched a comprehensive spacecraft that dazzled the world. The various black technologies it was equipped with and its huge size made those countries that thought they had mastered advanced technology feel too different in their hearts. They felt like they were dreaming, and then they were very afraid and terrified. The Spark Research Institute took the initiative to open up to the outside world and let the media of various countries broadcast live. This time, those big countries that wanted to do something could only watch the Cation represent all mankind, soaring into the sky and rushing into the deep starry sky. Launch the Quantum Relay Satellite. Cation received. Launching the Quantum Relay Satellite. Test. The signal is normal. The video communication is stable. Cation, please continue the mission. Every step of Cation is a big step for mankind, not to mention that everything on Cation was broadcast in real time to all humans on the mother planet. In the middle of the year, the first space transfer base was completed. There were no other requirements. As long as you apply, you can take a shuttle to land in this spaceport to appreciate the vastness and magnificence of space. However, there are great restrictions on the fees and quotas for boarding the port. Moreover, the Spark Research Institute treats people from outside the country differently. The fees are extremely high, relying on the continuous supply of energy from the nuclear fusion reactor, coupled with the subsequent launch of Cation 2 and Cation 3. They each went to their own colony planets. Every day, dozens of cargo shuttles are launched. The Sky City harbor is huge in size and has 1,000 permanent staff. According to different functions, it is divided into different areas: residential areas, production areas, docking areas, and central areas. There are even giant space defense energy weapons and a 100-man space defense guard. At the same time, the Spark Research Institute is also urgently expanding production in the hope of delivering the Zuanwu battleship to the Sky City as soon as possible. At the end of the year, the first private hotel was built in the Sky City, and the number of tourists received each month increased to 3,000 people. The staff also increased to 10,000 people, and the combat troops were equipped with Zuanwu-class warships, Jinwu fighters, and Spark armor. The first forward bases were established on the Moon, Mars, and Venus. With the follow-up of subsequent materials and personnel, the size and function of the forward bases are also constantly expanding. The Moon City was the first to complete the construction. In the new year, Venus City and Mars City also completed the construction work one after another, and the second generation Cation equipped with a curvature engine also increased its volume, load capacity and various new functions. It also began to screen stuff worldwide to complete the construction of subsequent transit stations, observation stations in the galaxy, and alien bases. Ding, the mission is completed. You can decide whether to return or not. Please pay attention, host. 5 years passed in a flash. Luo Wen not only showed no sign of getting old, but his temperament became more extraordinary, and he looked younger and younger. Of course, every student who had the honor to take Luo Wen's course was full of imagination and absolute respect for his teacher. Because the alien base cities in the galaxy were built, and the alien immigration wave was formed, various new opportunities, various new discoveries and technological advances, the political and industrial structures of the mother planet were also being reshuffled and rebuilt. For example, the Blue Star Alliance led by Luo Wen has increased its member states to 181. It can be said that the unification of the planet has been basically completed. In addition, the member states are also experiencing a process of rapid cultural integration and technological progress. Blue Coin, a credit point currency system based on the Central Intelligent Brain, Chinese has become the only official language in the Alliance, and the Spark Research Institute has also advanced to the Alliance Academy of Sciences. The Human Population Promotion Group, the Future Development Committee, the Interstellar Defense Force, and the Space Resources Development Committee have also sprung up like mushrooms after rain. Xinghuo, leave the subroutine behind. It's time for us to go home. Ding, the command is being executed. The program has been separated. Boss, Xinghuo will follow your arrangements. Phew, the city in the sky is now a behemoth with a population of nearly 10 million. It has mountains and rivers, its own stable ecosystem, and an energy field protection shield. Even without supplies from other planets, It can activate the central engine and sail in the starry sky at 1% of the speed of light, just like a real movable space city or a man-made fortress. The prosperous and bustling streets, the vast and magnificent starry sky, and the spaceships and battleships that come and go, big or small. Luo Wen was satisfied, and there was a hint of reluctance and resolute bitterness on the corner of his mouth. Every time he arrived in a world, he had to go through such a change of state of mind. Although Luo Wen was not a person with rich emotions, he was not a heartless person either. He just didn't show it easily in front of outsiders. Xinghuo, execute the procedures of the Alliance 13 Parliament. You will still be the speaker. Yes, boss, the order has been executed. I hope we can meet again in the future. Take care. A voice different from the Xinghuo artificial intelligence body in Luo Wen's hand sounded softly in his ears. It was no longer a synthesized sound without gender distinction, but a gentle and clear female voice. It seems that Luo Wen's personality determined that the artificial intelligence he left behind was of such a gentle personality type. System, return to the main world. Whoosh ha, in the blink of an eye, the vast sea turned into mulberry fields, and the starry sky became dim again. Luo Wen sat on a chair in the study of the country villa, closed his eyes for a full 3 seconds, and then adjusted his emotions and stayed to the real identity of Luo Wen and the main world of Blue Star, Xia Country, and Spark Technologies boss Luo Wen. There was no way. The speed of time in the main world was somewhat torn from what Luo Wen felt. The time he spent in other worlds had exceeded that of this main world that was deeply bound to him. Even the Spark artificial intelligence that had traveled with him was also evolving faster and more advanced. Spark, access the network, and optimize the intelligent program. A transparent crystal with a gleaming light. Inside of it was the artificial intelligence mother program that Luo Wen carried with him, or an advanced version, with much more copies and separations. Sometimes, he was not so sure who was the mother and who was the child program. Anyway, the intelligent cores were the same, but they were limited by the limitations of the running hardware, and their computing power and functions were difficult to exert, with some differences. Ding, complete the system task, return to the main world, data statistics in progress, rewards are being distributed. A total of 101 extraterrestrial bases, completed in 5 years. Qualified, rewarded with 10,100 trading points, and a chance to freely open a fantasy plane. Is this freely opening a fantasy plane? Luo Wen has always believed that the more trading points, the better, but he has not encountered any difficulties at the moment, so he has saved them all. As for this special reward, he was very excited, and suddenly became interested. Just by listening to the name, you can already know that this reward can be said to be very precious. However, Luo Wen still needs to carefully weigh and select it. Otherwise, those super sci-fi planes, or the prehistoric world, even if Luo Wen enters, it will be like sending food. Who knows, not only will he not get any benefits, but he will also lose his life. System, open the personal panel. Host, Luo Wen race, human, level 0 technological civilization carbon-based creature, abilities, strength 3000, ordinary person 1, agility 3000, ordinary person 1, stamina 3000, ordinary person 1, spirit 3000, ordinary person 1, Maocean magic encyclopedia, divine consciousness, 20,000 meters, telekinesis, 200,000 tons, realm. Nascent soul realm, Maocean orthodoxy, talent, energy affinity, given by the system, vitality. 3,000 years trading points. 80,600 points storage space. 128 meters physical fitness is getting stronger and stronger, and Luo Wen can even feel that his realm of cultivation is already in a bottleneck state. If he can enter a world of cultivation again, maybe he can break through smoothly, and it will be a new world and change. However, this doesn't seem to have much significance. Looking at the carbon-based creatures of level 0 technological civilization, Luo Wen felt that it was a bit eye-catching. After all, his current strength is already invincible on Blue Star. On the contrary, how to get some black technology that exceeds the core of level 2 technological civilization is the right way. Phew, forget it. I'm a little tired today. It's not easy to come back once. I'd better take a shower and go to bed and talk about it after I wake up. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 338, New Year's Day. The Gregorian New Year of Xiago. Of course, New Year's Day is not a traditional holiday. In addition to the promotion and marketing of businesses as a selling point, there are even many factories that will not give employees a day off just because today is Friday, January 1st, 2021, a working day. Beep. Beep at 7 o'clock in the morning. Luo Wen was awakened by the simulated alarm sound of Xinghuo. As for the familiar crowing of chickens in memory, it is probably because the weather is too cold, so there is some delay. They are lazy. Rustle, rustle. Oh, why is it raining? No wonder the crowing roosters are no longer crowing. It turns out that the weather is not only getting cooler, but it is also a rainy day, so the mood is more depressed. Wenzi, are you up yet? We have guests at home today. Don't sleep anymore. Get up and go to the station to pick them up. Ren Gixiang downstairs had a loud voice, just like her straightforward and hot-tempered personality. Although she could feel that her son seemed to have undergone some unknown changes every once in a while, for the better rather than the worse, she couldn't figure it out, nor could she see where or why he was affected and changed. She had to put her doubts in the bottom of her heart. Since it didn't develop in a bad direction, there was no need to hold on to it. Oh, I see. Luo Wen opened his mouth and was obviously stunned for a moment, but he reacted quickly and agreed very naturally. If it were an ordinary person who hadn't been home for 5 years, he might not be able to make a sound now, he was so excited. By the way, Luo Wen recalled that the last time he returned to the main world, everything was normal and nothing happened, so he quickly went to the world of Xiao Huangxi. And the previous matter between Luo Wu and Zhang Yu has also made new progress. Her family will take advantage of this holiday to come to her home and visit Luo Wu's parents. They are probably going to discuss their marriage, right? Spark Technology is still making efforts, but Luo Wen has always managed the company in a humane way. In other words, he just wants to do what people want. He just lets employees work at home and pays them directly. On New Year's Day, others take 1 day off, but Luo Wen actually takes 5 days off directly and asks the administrative department to notify everyone to report next Monday, except for the security guards who are on duty and the staff on duty. I'm afraid that there are no more than 100 people in the entire Spark Technology Park at this time. By the way, before traveling through the plane, Luo Wen also asked the finance department to give each employee New Year's Day benefits, a cash red envelope of 1,000 yuan, which can be said to be extremely generous. Dad, Mom, good morning. Where are Wuzi and Zhang Yuren? Ren Gixiang was cleaning downstairs. In fact, with the blessing of the magic circle, it was difficult for the house to become dirty and messy. It was just that the old woman was used to being diligent, and she would feel uncomfortable if she stopped. At this time, Luo Wen's father was also cooking breakfast in the kitchen and watching over the clay pot soup on the stove. It seemed that he had gone out early in the morning, and his clothes seemed to have been changed. It was probably because of Zhang Yu's family this time that he paid special attention to it. Oh, I asked Wuzi to drive to buy things, and Xiao Yu went with us. You should wash up quickly. Xiao Yu said that her parents and brother bought high-speed rail tickets and will arrive at Hucheng railway station at 9:30. You should pack up. It will take about an hour on the road. Go out early and don't get stuck in traffic. Although it was raining in the sky, the humidity in the whole Luojia village was not heavy. Even because of the spirit gathering formation, it was windy and rainy outside, and there were some cold winds that made people shiver. However, in Luojia village, there was a warm spring atmosphere, which made people feel comfortable and relaxed from the inside out. It was very strange. Okay, I know. I'll go now. Ren Gixiang and Luo Deke were busy preparing when they heard Luo Wen's familiar voice. They didn't notice anything unusual. Luo Wen had a hint of warmth in the corners of his eyes, but it was quickly evaporated into the air by himself. Mom, when Luo Wu and my sister came back last time, why didn't you talk to him about the betrothal gift? He is from Haching, so his family must be well off. And I can tell you, I have asked my sister about it. Luo Wu's brother is very powerful. He not only has a villa and a luxury car, but he is also very generous. Dad, Mom, I still don't dare to go to my girlfriend's house. Can you help me? In the bustling Hacheng railway station, a middle-aged couple with a nervous and helpless look, although wearing new clothes, is obviously still a little uncomfortable, as if it is the first time to go out, and it is also the first time to come to such a prosperous and lively place. Zia Liang, when you get to their house later, don't talk nonsense, don't be so ignorant of etiquette. I think Luo Wu is a very good guy, and he is also very good to your sister. Didn't he give you a big red envelope of 5,000 yuan when he came to our house last time? Zhang Yu's mother is a traditional rural middle-aged woman. The traces of the frost on her face and the calluses on her hands show that she is an honest person who is honest and responsible. Although Zhang Yu's father also had calluses on his hands and his back was a little hunched when he walked, he quickly adapted to the noisy environment with people coming and going. He also agreed with his son Zhang Liang's words. Obviously, he was a rural man with some ideas, unlike Zhang Yu's mother who was simple and innocent. Okay, let's not talk about it for now. Call Zhang Yu and ask her which exit we should go out from and where they are waiting for us. Zhang Yu's father has always had the final say at home. He has a very good demeanor as the head of the family. Zhang Liang also cleverly took out his mobile phone, the latest model of Apple 11, which was bought for him by Zhang Yu last time he came back. Otherwise, how could he, a college student who had just graduated, have this ability? It's a pity that his younger sister Zhang Li was not at home for class last time, and she didn't come with him this time, because she only had one day off. Hello, sister, my parents and I are here. Oh, my little sister was afraid that she would not come in time, so she didn't come. It's just the three of us. Well, East Station, right? Okay, I'll bring my parents over right away. Pa, Mom and Dad, my sister said they are waiting at the exit of East Station and asked us to go to East Station. Then let's go. It's your first time here. Don't make people wait anxiously and make a fool of themselves. Oh, brother, my sister didn't come this time. It's just my brother and my parents. If I had known, I wouldn't have troubled you to come along. Zhang Yu, with an apologetic look on her face, put down her phone and started to apologize to Luo Wen. She didn't expect that something that she had called to confirm yesterday would be changed so easily. Oh, it's okay. After all, they are elders. There's nothing wrong with me coming here. Just show up in advance and say hello on behalf of my parents. Luo Wen waved his hand nonchalantly, indicating that it didn't matter. Zhang Yu was his younger brother's girlfriend, and how they would get along in the future was their business. As a brother, all he could do was to take care of her in other aspects, or make his attitude clear, so that Zhang Yu's family wouldn't think that they didn't pay enough attention. Luo Wen himself would probably not have many opportunities to deal with Zhang Yu's family in the future. Since he was sent here by his parents, he would do his duty as a brother. Hey, Zhang Yu, I see your brother and your parents. Over here, over here. He, uncle, aunt, Zia Liang. Oh, I see them, mom and dad. He, tap, tap. As the crowd surged at the exit, the family of three also came out, and when Luo Wu took over the things from Zhang Yu's parents, Zhang Yu began to introduce Luo Wen to his family. Dad, Mom, Zia Liang, this is Luo Wu's brother Luo Wen. He thought Zia Li would come back today, so he came here to pick you up. Oh. Haha, I'm really sorry to trouble you to make an extra trip. We have pigs, chickens and ducks at home, and the little girl has to go to school tomorrow, so we didn't let her come with us. I'm sorry. Haha, this guy looks like a big star. Zia Yu, is he really Luo Wu's biological brother? Uncle, auntie, it's okay. Get in the car first, and we can chat slowly on the way. Luo Wen greeted them enthusiastically, and ignored the attention of passers-by, but led the group to the parking lot. Chapter 339. Oh, don't ask me about trivial matters. Zhang Yu's parents rarely left the mountain village where they lived. However, their 3 children were at least well informed and all made their way out by studying, instead of continuing to farm at home. Zhang Yu was diligent, and she was well behaved and sensible in her words and deeds. She might have inherited her mother's good character. On the contrary, Zhang Liang, as observed by Luo Wen, had some of the arrogance and rebelliousness of young people. When he saw Luo Wen's car and the 2 villas with their own merits, when he came to Luojia village, the envy and jealousy in his eyes showed that this guy was not an honest and dutiful person. Fortunately, it was not him who made the decision in the Zhang family, but Zhang Yu's father who looked happy. He might have some old-fashioned ideas of favoring boys over girls, but since he supported his 2 daughters to study, he must not be so conservative and unkind. He might want to treat his son better, but he would not joke about his daughter's happiness. It was not until he saw that the environment of Luo Wu's family was indeed different from that of ordinary people, that a big stone in his heart fell to the ground. Even when they heard Luo Deke and Ren Gixiang say that when Zhang Yu and Luo Wu got married, they would write Zhang Yu's name on the property certificate of the new house and buy a car for Zhang Yu, the 2 old people were already in tears, feeling relieved and happy for their daughter. Not to mention, when Ren Gixiang glanced at Luo Wen and asked how much the betrothal gift was, Luo Wen said directly, "Oh, don't ask me about such trivial matters. Besides, Wuzi can't be too stingy when getting married, right? You can decide for yourselves." 6.66 million. This is a number that Ren Gixiang gritted her teeth and said directly. Perhaps she knew that there were not many opportunities to spend money lavishly like this, so after she said it, she didn't allow Zhang Yu's parents to refuse, picked up the phone and asked the bank to transfer the money immediately and experience the true meaning of spending money and enjoying it. Zhang Yu's parents left. After lunch the next day, Luo Wu and Zhang Yu sent them to the train station. They decided to get married on May 1st, Labor Day, and they would decorate the new house in advance. Luo Wu would set out from the village to pick up the bride from their home. Their relatives' hotel accommodation and round-trip fare were all paid for by Ren Gixiang. The 6.66 million betrothal gift was given, and they didn't feel bad about spending this little money. That night, Luo Wu knocked on Luo Wen's door. The 2 brothers actually rarely had time to be alone, especially when they grew up. Of course, Luo Wen was still studying in the study at 10 o'clock in the evening, which undoubtedly created such conditions. Zhang Yu was watching TV downstairs, and Luo Wen's parents had returned to their room with sleepy eyes. "Brother, thank you." Luo Wu was very grateful to his brother. He knew that if his brother hadn't suddenly become rich, given money, and bought houses, it would have been difficult for him to talk about marriage with Zhang Yu so smoothly, and even be appreciated by Zhang's parents-in-law. We are brothers, and this is all I can do. You and Zhang Yu must live a good life in the future. If possible, let mom and dad hold their grandchildren as soon as possible, which is the key, and it will not be in vain for my good intentions. Luo Wen put down the laptop in his hand, poured a cup of jasmine tea, walked in front of Luo Wu, and put it in his hand. To be honest, Luo Wen and Luo Wu both had a very strange feeling in their hearts. They were obviously brothers who were only 3 years apart, but at this moment, it was more like the relationship between a father and son. It might be Luo Wen's mentality and real age. It is really difficult for him to put himself in the role of a brother. Most of the time, he behaved more like a brother, a father's care and concern for Luo Wu. Brother, don't talk about me first. When are you going to get married? Bring me a sister-in-law. I heard from my mother that you brought girls back to play before, but later, I don't know what happened. You don't like to go out anymore and rarely interact with the opposite sex. Are you planning to be a bachelor? Is this kid here to thank me in the name of a favor, but actually to lobby for my mother? With you here, the incense of our Luo family will not be cut off. Besides, I don't want to have a girlfriend yet, and I don't want to spend time in my own small family. I started a company, you know. In a few words, Luo Wen changed the topic to one side. Yeah, I know. Spark technology. What? Luo Wu was shocked. He was even more shocked than Luo Wen getting rich and changing from the inside out. After all, He still remembered that he called his brother and asked him to install the software developed by Spark Technology. His words were full of admiration and worship for Spark Technology. How come a great technology company that transcends the times was suddenly founded by my brother? You and Zhang Yu should prepare to join my company. Father and son fight together, brothers fight together. I believe in your learning ability. And as the scale and fame of the company continue to grow, it is difficult for you, my brother, not to be noticed by interested people. If I offer you conditions and then find a breakthrough from you, I don't want such a speechless thing to happen. This Spark Technology is really, my parents probably don't know yet, right? Oh, okay, I know. Luo Wu had thousands of words in his heart, but seeing his brother's trusting and affirmative eyes, he finally slowly adjusted himself and nodded in agreement. I will find a chance to tell my parents about this. They are so carefree now, and their lives are easy and good. If it is not necessary, I don't want to affect their living conditions. I understand. I will explain it clearly to Zhang Yu. Then, brother, you go ahead and do your work. I'll go out to find Zhang Yu. Yeah, by the way, Woozy, no matter when, you must remember that I'm your brother. I'm the son of my parents. You and I have the same blood. Got it, brother? Luo Wu's matter has come to an end. As for how he explained it to Zhang Yu, and how he convinced her to resign and then find a new job together, Luo Wen believed that his younger brother could handle it. Of course, no one else needed to teach him such a small matter. On the third day, when Luo Wen returned to the main world, the sky cleared up, the morning mist dissipated, and the rooster with a big red comb began its daily operations after the rain. Dad, Mom, I'm not going to eat at home today. You don't have to leave any food for me. I'm going out. The black sub roared out of the garage, and Luo Wen decided to go visit the cute and clingy little Ye. If there was enough time, he also planned to fulfill his promise. After all, the persistent Zhang Kan and Jihan kept asking Luo Wen when he would go to school to play with them and treat them to a big meal and go shopping. That would be perfect. The alienation of interpersonal relationships did not bring Luo Wen a pleasant experience. On the contrary, many times, it made him think too much, and he even didn't know how to deal with the relationship with friends in the other world. Maybe it's only after experiencing it that you can have new experiences and gains. Chapter 340, So Happy. Wow, it's Uncle Luo Wen. Mom, look, it's Uncle Luo Wen. Walking with short legs, with a few colorful brush marks on her face for some reason, she looked like a regular little cat. At this moment, Ye was trying hard to push open the glass door, and then, like a little white snow fox, she happily jumped into Luo Wen's arms. It was a bit cold outside, and Ye was so enthusiastic, so Luo Wen naturally squatted down early and opened his arms to welcome her pounds. Oh, Ye has grown up again, and she's so strong that she almost knocked me down. Of course I'm getting stronger. When I grow a few more years, I'll be as tall as you, and then I'll be able to protect my uncle and my mother. This little girl, it's been a long time since I last saw her. She's become more and more clever in her words, and she no longer calls me Ye all the time. However, the innocence in her big eyes and the milky scent on her body are still as strong as ever. The already soft little girl put on a fluffy white down jacket. Maybe when Kyan was afraid that she would grow too fast, so she bought her a size bigger, which made the little girl look even cuter and cuter, and Luo Wen's love for her never faded with the passage of time. Luo Wen held the little girl in his arms, let her sit on his hands, and then felt her soft and milky baby skin face to face. Fortunately, there was no prickly beard on Luo Wen's face, nor was there any icy coldness. Instead, there was tight skin that was full of toughness and elasticity, and a sense of security that made people feel warm, comfortable and at ease. Uncle's face is so smooth, it's more comfortable than my mother's face. Sister Kyan, how's business recently? Wen, you're here. Business is okay. The weather is getting colder and more people are shopping. Jiang and I are a little overwhelmed. Oh, if you are really too busy, just hire someone else to help. Otherwise, Ye will have to take care of herself. Do you have wet wipes? Look, she painted her face. Fan Jiang is very happy working here. At least no matter whether it is the big boss Luo Wen or the boss's wife. No, it's the small boss sister Wen Kaiang. They are all very kind and caring to her. The salary offered is also one of the best. Not to mention, she can learn something here. Oh, yes, I'll get it for you. When Kaiang was working indoors, not only was the air conditioner on, but because she was busy with work, she was only wearing a yellow sweater, no coat, light colored jeans, and a pair of short boots. On her fair skin, there was an attractive blush. Her hair was tied up casually, which made Wen Kaiang, who had an outstanding temperament and a great figure, look even more mature and attractive. Unfortunately, Wen Kaiang looked at Luo Wen with a strange look in her eyes, but Luo Wen was just gentle as always, with no other intentions, except the intimacy and familiarity between friends. Even when he looked at Ye, he would show his love and enviable intimacy. By the way, if your store is very busy today, you can let me take care of Ye. It's just right. I'll take her out for some fresh air. It's not good to keep her in the store all the time. Oh, really? Uncle wants to take me out to play? Well, Ye is very naughty. Can you do it alone? Don't worry, I think I can. Ye is obviously the best. Mom is lying. Luo Wen helped Wen Kaiang for an hour or so, such as tidying up the warehouse and checking the store circuits, water pipes, and the operating status of instruments and equipment for her. After seeing that they finally had time to post recruitment information online, Luo Wen took Ye, who had washed her face, by the hand and hung a little yellow duck thermos around her neck and a pink backpack on one shoulder. Bye, Mom. Bye, Sister Jiang. I'll buy you lollipops when I come back. You better behave at home. Where did this girl learn all this? She's so good at it. Why does she sound like she's coaxing a child? Uncle, let's go. Yeah. Haha, what else could Luo Wen say? He put his school bag and water bottle on the back seat, told the little girl a few words, and fastened her seatbelt. Sister Kaiang, go in. Yeah, and I will definitely come back before you get off work tonight. Well, be careful on the road. Click. Yeah, let's go to the university and find two little sisters to accompany you to the mall. How about that? Luo Wen was not stupid. Without such a small light bulb, who knows what will happen next? Besides, if one little duck is driven, then two little ducks, isn't that the same thing? Okay, yeah, likes making friends the most. Uncle, are those two little sisters pretty? Are they as pretty as my mother? Pretty? As cute as yeah. If it comes to beauty, of course your mother is the prettiest. Luo Wen is not stupid. If a little girl gets jealous, she will be no less beautiful than an adult. It's just a little strange. Why would Ye suddenly ask such a question for no reason? Oh, in that case, then I'm relieved. Let's go, Uncle. Let's go find the little sister to play. Patting her chest and sighing. Is she trying to exclude dissidents from her mother? Hello. It's Brother Wen. Oh, I'm free. Zixi and I are both free. Okay, see you later. Whether it's Monday to Friday or weekends, for college students, it's very likely that they don't have classes on weekdays. Besides, college campuses rely on students' self-consciousness to learn. Whether it's teachers or schools, they no longer have the strict management of middle schools and high schools. Not to mention, since Luo Wen planned to go out to find the two little girls, he must have confirmed their time in advance. Otherwise, he wouldn't have chosen to go out today. The one who answered the phone was Yihan, a lively, cheerful, and smiling girl with an oval face. She was typing on her laptop in the dormitory, completing the homework assigned by the teacher. This was a first-class university, so they certainly couldn't sleep in during the day or waste time playing mobile games. Zixi, stop watching the study video. It's Brother Wen. Brother Wen just called me. He said he would be here soon and would treat us to a meal at school and visit us. Oh, really? Zheng Qian, who had an oval face, was not sure if she was too engrossed in the computer at this time. The plain glasses on her small nose didn't stay on and fell off when she turned her head. Really? She also said that she brought a little friend to see us and asked us to get ready and be downstairs in our dormitory at 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. It's already past 10 o'clock, which is less than an hour. Wow. The girl in the little white bunny pajamas stood up from the chair. Oh, it was too cold and raining yesterday, so I didn't take a shower. I haven't washed my hair for 2 days. What should I do now? If the little fairy doesn't take a shower every day, her scalp will be oily and her image will be a little sloppy. Zhangqian and Jihan are still good. At least they are naturally beautiful and don't have small problems like body odor. But at this time, the bathhouse hasn't started to supply hot water yet. How about I find you a woolen hat? No, I'd better show you if there is hot water in everyone's thermos, so you can wash your hair. Don't scare brother Wen away. Oh, I'm serious, Yeezy. Why are you so annoying? Besides, it's just a little oily. How can it scare anyone away? If I want to suffocate you, I'll use it on you first. Ah, no. The two little girls who were fighting and playing were quickly packing up, getting ready to greet the arrival of Luo Wen, who had not been seen for a long time, with the most perfect image. As for whether they would mind that Luo Wen had not shown up, that was unknown. After all, they still felt that they were somewhat guilty. It was because of them that Luo Wen was blamed by their strict parents last time. If they had to mind, it was that they would blame Luo Wen for them. Chapter 341 Interlude. It was a sunny morning in Hucheng. Although the air was a little damp and cold, the faint fragrance of osmanthus made people feel relaxed and happy. Boom Creek. There was no so-called security guard incident. The entire Hucheng University campus covers an area of more than 2,000 acres. The school not only has a large number of teaching buildings, student dormitories, libraries, comprehensive buildings, laboratory buildings, stadiums and other teaching facilities, but also has profitable facilities such as canteens, commercial streets, supermarkets, and express delivery stations that are rented out. Although Luo Wen drove a black X5, it was not a very eye-catching luxury car here. The railing automatically lifted up, showing the words foreign vehicle on it, and then he stepped on the accelerator and drove in slowly. Wow, uncle, this is so big. Is this a park? Wow, how come there is a lake? Ye was amazed. It was obvious that she only went between home and the store. She might occasionally stroll around the entire mall. This was her only activity. From the moment she sat in the back seat, she twisted her little head and looked around with relish. She kept asking curious questions. Fortunately, Luo Wen had been tempered and had a lot of patience. Facing the 10,000 whys of a delicate little girl, he was also able to respond calmly and patiently explain in detail. The bright red string on Ye's neck was obviously also due to the protective jade talisman that Luo Wen had given to her and her mother. After the continuous infection of spiritual energy, she, like her mother, was always full of energy. Her complexion became more delicate and rosy, and she never got sick again. Hey, who parked the car downstairs of our building? Maybe someone is looking for that old baby outside? The world is going downhill, and the study spirit in school is gradually being distorted by the social atmosphere of rampant materialism. Two goddesses carrying tequila were gossiping while looking curiously, glancing into the dark window of the cab, wanting to see, but not wanting to. It was said that the BMW X5 costs more than 1 million. Is the man inside an old man or a young brother? They are also very curious. Click, the car door was opened, and the man who got out instantly eclipsed the warm sun in the sky. He had an extraordinary temperament, and looks like Panon was not enough to describe him. He was wearing a tweed coat, jeans, Martin boots, sharp eyebrows and bright eyes, and his skin was faintly glowing with enviable luster. He was 180 centimeters tall, which was the ideal partner. These were already the most dazzling male god in the minds of the girls around him. Not to mention that he was driving a valuable SUV with a calm and steady attitude. He was definitely tall, rich and handsome. Wow, he's a handsome guy. All my idols combined seem to be inferior to him. Is he a newcomer who just debuted? It's impossible. With such an image, I'm afraid he should have been famous a long time ago. Under the amazed eyes of the discussion, Luo Wen just whispered to Ye not to get out of the car, and they would go out to play as soon as they picked up the person. Ta-ta, ta-ta, a young girl is at the age of blooming flowers. She is a beautiful girl with a natural beauty. After being influenced by the senior students on the university campus, Zhang Qian and Yihan have become more graceful and charming after not seeing each other for several months. Luo Jet, long time no see. The young swallows have returned to the nest. Although they have played in the swimming pool once, they should be a little unfamiliar with Luo Wen after the passage of time. Unfortunately, they didn't. They even accumulated a little guilt for Luo Wen in the long-standing nostalgia. Then, puff up, can you let go of my hand? I can't breathe. Cough cough. Yihan and Zhang Qian hugged Luo Wen's waist from the left and right, and the fragrance filled his nose. Luo Wen was a little overwhelmed. Luo Wen's impact on them was even more intense. Instantly, a natural breath that made people intoxicated and addicted rushed along their mouths and noses to the deepest part of their bodies and minds, making people feel excited like an electric shock. Unintentionally, they had close physical contact with Luo Wen. Luo Wen's appearance was only attractive to the opposite sex at the level of a handsome guy, and Luo Wen tried to restrain those seductive breaths that made people sink. Now it was obviously a failure. It was said that it was just energy affinity, and I don't know when it became a special skill of charm. Hearing Luo Wen's fake cough, he was actually afraid that the bold behavior of the two little girls would be criticized by the classmates around them. Fortunately, after they let go, those girls who seemed to be stunned remembered to take out their mobile phones, but they didn't take any pictures. Oh, sorry, it took me so long to remember what I promised you. I can't help but get a little emotional. Oh, my brother Luo, are you okay? Yihan, with a smile on her face, was still so outspoken, and Zhang Qian, with a rosy face, had a shy look in her eyes, but she was also full of longing for Luo Wen and concern for his cough just now, which made her cute and pitiful. Oh, it's okay, I was just kidding you. Get in the car first, there are so many eyes watching us around here. Click, bang. The two innocent girls, who were overwhelmed by excitement and joy, were like thieves caught in the act. They opened the car door and hid in the back seat. Hey, what a cute little sister. Hello, are you the little friend that Luo J wants to bring to meet us? My name is Yeah, pretty sister. Hello. Handsome men and beautiful women are a group that attracts each other and easily gathers together. For example, Luo Wen, who is optimized after birth, Yihan and Zhang Qian, who are born with good conditions, and the cute pink and tender little girl Lisa Wen, that is, yeah. Luo Wen, while concentrating on driving, suppressed the ripples in his heart silently. In just a few months, how come the two little sisters' bodies have grown a little bit bigger? Oh, it may also be that there is a sensory deviation between what I saw with my eyes last time and what I felt with my body. Phew, Luo Wen was steady. He was well informed anyway. There was no strange expression on his face. Instead, the corners of his mouth were raised, with a faint smile that made people feel like spring breeze. Three little beauties, what would you like to eat for lunch today? It's my treat. Something almost happened. Luo Wen was unable to react in time. It seemed that the heart-pounding desire still had an impact on him. However, he also remedied it in time. Didn't you see in the rearview mirror that the three people sitting in the back seat had retracted their doubtful and unfriendly eyes? Wen. This name sounds very meaningful, but yeah, sounds very cute too. Easy, what do you want to eat for lunch? You decide. Oh, yeah, what do you want to eat? I want steak, French fries, and red bean milk tea. It seems very simple for two adults and one child to get to know each other and become friends. Or maybe, people with pure minds can feel each other's kindness and sincerity. Oh, and there is also a red string around their necks. It is probably because of the same spiritual energy. This is also the fundamental reason why they are as close as a family in a short time. Okay, then we will go to eat steak at noon and buy French fries and red bean milk tea for yeah. Luo Wen is like a crazy girl who dotes on his daughters. No matter if they are older or younger, to him, they are cute creatures that people love and protect. I don't know if this habit is good or bad. However, at least as a single dog, Luo Wen has not been labeled a scumbag yet. Chapter 342 New Direction. The four people were very lively. Although the male was handsome, the female was pretty, and the young one was lovable, they did not look like Luo Wen in any way from their appearance and facial features. However, they acted very close to each other, just like an older brother with his own sister. There was a burst of happy laughter like silver bells, and many topics that made people envious and curious. Luo Wen accompanied the three girls and had a lively lunch. Then they went to the video game city to pick up a net bag of plush toys and finally watched an animated movie. Anyway, Yihan and Zankan cooperated very well. It might also be the preference of the two girls. Like yeah, they are still at this stage. Until 4 PM, Luo Wen took them to the shopping mall, bought a lot of snacks and fruits, and sent them to the dormitory building of Zankan and Yihan until they waved goodbye. And Zhao Ye, lying quietly in the back seat, was covered with a blanket by Luo Wen. He looked at the bag of rainbow lollipops tightly in her hand, and he also admired the little girl's obsession. Ding brother Luo, are you home? Also, thank you for visiting us today and buying us so many delicious foods. In the dormitory, Yihan and Zankan's four roommates, who were also outstanding in appearance, were chatting about their brother Luo and kept touching the shopping bags on the table. Oh, I just got home. When I'm free, I'll take you out to play. Okay, then it's settled. Haha, at 7 o'clock in the evening, Luo Wen had just arrived home and parked the car after accompanying Wen Kaiang and her daughter to dinner. Originally they were planning to eat dinner out, but Wen Kaiang insisted on cooking at home, so Luo Wen had no choice but to go along with her. Looking at the simple rental house, which was kept exceptionally clean and tidy, full of warmth and childlike fun, Luo Wen was somewhat touched and suggested that Wen Kaiang take a look at the apartment above the shopping mall, which would be convenient for travel and had more complete supporting facilities. The price was also acceptable, so he would consider it as a birthday present for Ye. Dad, Mom, I'm going up first. Don't watch TV too late. Hey, Luo, do you think Wenzi is a little strange today? He was in high spirits and in a good mood. After Engixiang said this, Luod also felt that Luo Wen's expression was a little strange. Is it because he went out on a date, so his mood and state of mind have changed? That means that the eldest brother has finally come to his senses? Haha, Luo Wen's parents spoke softly, holding back their excitement and laughter. They didn't want to ask Luo Wen to come down to ask clearly, for fear of making him unhappy again. However, Luo Wu's marriage has been decided, and the eldest son Luo Wen also seems to have signs of good things coming. This is undoubtedly a good thing that comes in pairs, which is really the best. In the evening, Luo Wen stayed at home honestly, or more accurately, in his study, while paying attention to the progress of the lunar base, and looking at the underground factory of Spark Technology Company, to see how far it has progressed. Then, he kept traveling in the cultural film and television works on the internet, the world of novel adaptations, and the world of animation. He had to maximize the opportunity to freely travel through the fantasy world. If he couldn't find it for a while, he would rather keep it and not use it casually. The existence of the system, according to the choices of these planes, Luo Wen felt that it should be kind and lawful, or in other words, it was not the kind of perverted system that would wipe out the host at will. In addition to the Iron Man at the beginning, there was also the zombie Taoist priest at the second time. The world behind seemed to have no danger at all. It was just a story, just like signing in to experience it. According to this idea, I'm afraid that in the future, trading points will continue to accumulate, and then the technology tree will be slowly lit up. Luo Wen experienced in different time and space, improved his cultivation strength, and then returned to the main world to strengthen the technology level, complementing and optimizing each other, and promoting each other's development. Although this peaceful and stable development mode lacks the bloody and passionate atmosphere, it is undoubtedly the best mode that suits Luo Wen's personality preferences. He likes to accumulate things and rely on quantitative changes to cause qualitative changes, rather than using a small amount of force to achieve a great result, and is obsessed with taking a different approach and challenging others. In each imperfect plot world, isn't it also a good experience to be a perfect good person? Avengers. No, there are bug-like existences such as infinite gems. It is better not to take risks unless you pass the tribulation and become an immortal. As Luo Wen's eyes moved, the holographic projection in the study also changed the screen and replaced it with a batch of recommended works screened by artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence spark in its intelligent core was engraved with the contract array by Luo Wen. Rather than saying that Luo Wen is her master, it is better to say that the two of them are partners who advance and retreat together. Although they are not the kind of people who prosper together and suffer together, but the binding relationship of common growth and mutual assistance, as well as the absolute trust between each other, I believe that in the future, their relationship will be so unbreakable. Dragon Ball Super, Saiyans, Shenlong, Senzu Beans, Super God Water, Super Saiyans, Androids, King K, Super Dragon Balls, God of Destruction, all gods. Oh my god, isn't this even more perverted than the Avengers? With my strength, I can only fight with Sun Wukong who just grew up. The ruthless people behind me will kill me in minutes, right? There are indeed many good things, such as the space compression technology that can change the size of objects at will, which is the universal capsule of Bulma's family. Or the android manufacturing technology that is more powerful than nanometer. They can be said to be another kind of humanoid creatures, which can devour evolution, get married and have children. There is also a time machine, which is a great instrument that breaks through the laws of the universe. Its function can even be comparable to the time gem. It's just that there is a time paradox. In addition, Brown has experienced so many parallel universes, and he also feels that the time machine is just an instrument that breaks the barrier of time and space and enters another parallel world. If you want to change the history of the world you live in, I'm afraid it can only be done by a true god-level civilization. Monday is a brand new day. For the employees of Spark Technology Company who have a short holiday, there is no need to describe their relaxed and happy mood at this time. The company's fixed monthly salary is unchanged, and it increases with the years of work, promotion assessment, and the improvement of employee level. However, in addition to this, there are additional bonuses and performance rewards. No matter how many days off a month they take, their basic salary will still be paid correctly, and 18 days of salary a year will not be reduced by a penny. Taking a holiday will make people happy. Not going to work and not earning the coveted bonuses and performance rewards will make people very sad. Good morning. Good morning. Archeng, how was it? Where did you go on vacation this time? Or did you go to your mother-in-law's house to show off? Oh, what you said is right. I'm a formal employee of Spark Technology. After my girlfriend's family found out about this, they treated me like their own son. However, I still took them to Sanaya for a trip and only came back yesterday afternoon. The beautiful girl at the front desk is still as youthful and beautiful as ever. She extends a sincere and sweet greeting to every colleague who enters the building. Spark Technology does not start work until 9 o'clock every day, and there is no attendance machine or fingerprint machine. As long as they walk into the company gate with an identification card, they will not be counted as late. It is very humane. Hey, tell me, our company has reached a cooperation with the country. Will the monthly bonus be higher than the salary in the future? Aren't you a little too greedy? It's easy to go to work every day, and the welfare benefits are among the best in the world. If we are not lucky enough to be the first batch of employees, we should never think about such a good thing. You still think the salary is low? No, brother Zhang, I just said it casually. Besides, aren't you curious about how much the bonus will be next month? Good morning, Mr. Luo. While the office building lobby, which was full of discussions, suddenly became quiet as a handsome young man with a gentle smile walked in. Then, everyone focused their admiring and fanatical eyes on him alone. It was him who gave them, ordinary people, a beautiful and broad future. It was him who made them realize what a wonderful feeling it is to be respected and liked. Good morning, Mr. Luo. Well, good morning, everyone. Go ahead, don't worry about me. Haha, what's the art of commanding subordinates? What's company management? For Luo Wen, it's the ubiquitous humane care, the salary and benefits far exceeding the world level, reducing the workload, continuously increasing the income, and providing them with a platform for learning and growth. How could a great company with all kinds of black technologies be lost in the crowd and be constrained by secular rules in its development? Chapter 343, Big Deal. Boss Luo, or La company's products and technologies have been boycotted by foreign countries. According to their external spokesperson, our Spark Technologies technology has not applied for international patents, nor has it submitted a technical principle description. There are potential safety hazards. In order to protect the lives and property of ordinary people, and for national security considerations, Spark Technologies related products and technologies are prohibited from entering their domestic market, and their companies are not allowed to use Spark Technologies products and technologies. At the department meeting on Monday morning, because of Luo Wen's attendance, the heads and managers of various departments were also very alert, and treated it strictly. Tap, tap, tap. Luo Wen, who had a calm face, said nothing, but tapped the solid wood conference table in front of him with his fingers rhythmically, making the male and female elites below unable to figure out what their boss was thinking. Manager who? How much money is currently in the company's account? As Luo Wen asked the question, everyone's eyes were also shifted to the face of Hu Ziping, who had short hair and was dressed in a strict and conservative women's suit. Hu Ziping graduated from Hacheng University of Finance and Economics. Strictly speaking, according to her qualifications and age of 25, she should at most be a financial assistant or a clerk in an ordinary company. However, she was so lucky that her resume was selected by Xinghua Technology, and then she was entrusted with the important task of head of the finance department. This is the fundamental reason why she is so young, but dressed very maturely and steadily. Maybe she is afraid that other colleagues will talk about her and say that she is not worthy of the position, right? Oh, Oklahoma, Mr. Luo, as of the morning of the 6th, our company's account still has 499.7587 billion, not including undelivered orders and uncollected balances. Hu Ziping gathered her short hair around her ears, and although she was a little short of breath, she did her job conscientiously and answered the boss's questions without even looking up the statistical reports on the computer. Nearly 500 billion. That's enough. What's enough? Starting today, all dollar quotations will be removed from the official website, and an official announcement will be issued that Spark Technology will no longer provide sales channels outside of Xiago, nor will it negotiate any cooperation with foreign companies. Is this going to completely withdraw from the foreign market and stop external sales and promotion? Director Lin, go and contact the district government. Our Spark Technology will take over all the nearby undeveloped plots at once. With the previous preferential lease agreement, there shouldn't be much of a problem. I'm sure they won't ask for too high a price. Director Ziyang, prepare for the new product launch. This time, we will form our own industrial ecological chain, starting with a reshuffle in the domestic market. What is Mr. Luo going to do? Yes, Mr. Luo, we'll do it right away. A boss who is not very aggressive, although he gives people a sense of being harmless, but an ambitious and resolute person will not necessarily make his subordinates dissatisfied. After all, the bigger Luo Wen's actions and plans, the higher their status and achievements will be. Besides, Spark Technology is not without strength, so why should it allow foreign countries to scare and block it? At 12 noon, the official website of Spark Technology Company instantly switched to a new display screen, and the product lines and prices on it were changed and replaced. The most important thing is that a technology company that originally intended to only do upstream technology and provide core industrial semi-finished products has suddenly transformed itself and released two new commercial products. For example, the Spark Personal Communication Terminal uses quantum field communication technology and holographic display modules to replace the original backward mobile phone LCD screen. It also has the latest carbon crystal battery with a battery life of more than 1 year after a full charge. The original Spark system, loaded with the communication module, only costs 99 yuan per month, with unlimited traffic and unlimited communication time. You can even share the backward smartphones around you, but the communication protocols are different, and their network speed is only slightly faster than 5G, which is far less than the speed and zero delay of the quantum communication field. The Spark Personal Terminal, according to different hardware standards, is priced at $19.99 for the ordinary version, $29.99 for the high-end version, and $49.99 for the top version. This is not just a traditional mobile phone, but it takes into account all the functions of a computer. It even uses brainwave receiving sensors. Every bound user does not need to operate it manually at all, and can control the operation on the holographic projection, as if he is pointing his arm. There is no dollar price tag. Just like Luo Wen's decision, Spark Technology will no longer provide official sales channels from now on, nor will it provide follow-up technical support and guarantee services for products activated abroad. Mobile phones and computers, even TVs and tablets at home, are all included in a Spark Personal Terminal priced at 1,999 yuan. With such multiple black technology blessings and a desperate price, the first to panic are naturally the various technology companies. After so many years, it is still just an assembly plant. Luo Wen has no patience to continue playing with them, since the entire Blue Star is unwilling to follow the steps and embark on the path of peaceful reunification that Luo Wen envisioned, then be prepared to accept his dimensionality reduction attack and be conquered by force. Crazy. Go to the official website of Spark Technology and have a look. This company is going to shake the global technology hegemony by itself. What are you talking about? Don't worry, let me tell you the truth. Crazy, really crazy. Directly abandoning the overseas market and releasing personal terminal products is just one of them. In the 21st century, the most important electronic industry in the world was directly thrown into the abyss by Spark Personal Terminals. Spark Automobile, this industrial master that suddenly appeared. This is the root cause of the great shock to those who saw it. Although the electronics industry is closely related to everyone, there is also the communication industry that has always been monopolized by the state. It's just a little strange that the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology of Xiaoguo and the three major operators seem to have no reaction at all. The industry that has the greatest impact on the global economy is actually the automobile industry. The number of related practitioners easily exceeds 100 million. Mining, metal processing, parts production, rubber, textiles, synthetic materials, petroleum energy, electronic components, sales, after sales, modification, and competition. The automobile industry can be said to be closely related to all industries in the world, accounting for more than 15% of the total global GDP output value, and its deep influence is obvious. Nowadays, the automobile industry is undergoing changes, transitioning from traditional fuel to new energy. All countries are governments that come forward and fight in person, fearing that they will fall behind and never recover. However, the dark horse of Spark Technology suddenly came out. No, it can't be said to be sudden. After all, after the release of related products before, there have been discussions on the internet, and people have imagined what would happen if Spark Technology entered the market. However, that was just the imagination of bored netizens. How could it be so sudden? It's just New Year's Day, just at the beginning of 2020. Spark Technology has released such a big nuclear bomb. Spark Automobile has released a total of 3 versions: ordinary version, high-end version, and top-end version, with prices of 100,000, 500,000, and 1 million respectively. In addition to the differences in hardware configuration, the luxury of the interior, the difference in appearance design, and the endurance time, the 3 versions are actually not much different. That's right, it's the driving time, not the driving range. Ordinary fuel vehicles generally fill up a tank of gas are about a few hundred kilometers, rarely more than 1,000 kilometers. The farther you run, the more fuel you burn, the higher the cost, or the mechanical quality does not support such high intensity continuous work. As for new energy electric vehicles, in terms of driving range, they have not even broken through the limit of fuel vehicles, and some are far behind. The best electric vehicles have a maximum driving range of only about 500 kilometers, but their selling price easily exceeds 500,000. For Spark cars, it is no longer calculated how many kilometers a charge can last, but a full charge can last at least 240 hours. Full load, extreme driving, Through actual testing and confirmation by artificial intelligence, it is at least 240 hours. It is not an indoor test environment with a good environment, but the minimum driving time after comprehensive simulation of ice fields, deserts, grasslands, and plateaus. The maximum speed is 400 km per hour, and it only takes 1 second to accelerate from 0 to 100 km, and only 3 seconds from 0 to 200 km. A full charge can last for at least 240 hours, and at a speed of 400 km per hour, the cruising range is 96,000 km. Of course, if there is only one person, and it is not driving at full speed, the cruising range may be doubled. A full charge of the spark car is equivalent to many fuel vehicles having to run until they reach the scrap age. Of course, as a spark car that uses a new magnetic induction motor and carbon crystal batteries, the reason why the data is so terrifying is entirely because it has a secret weapon, that is, the anti-gravity system. The spark car is a new energy floating car without wheels. Chapter 344, Stormy. The delivery of spark cars will start on the 1st of next month, and there are only 3 days left. They said that the whole company is going to prepare for the annual holiday. Spark Technology Company is really patient and does not accept advance reservations. They only said that a delivery center has been set up at the company headquarters in Lake City. They won't let car buyers take a plane to pick up the car. Oh, you know nothing. Such a great spark car only takes less than a month to wait. Besides, the top version only sells for 1 million. Those supercar dealers should be nailed to the wall. I bought a Ferrari and waited for almost a year. I haven't been notified to pick up the car yet. I don't care. I'm going to book a ticket to Lake City. The rich man above is looking for support. He looks soft and easy to push down. He can be either top or bottom. You can choose any posture. Fuck, this is so disgusting. +1. Hey, what do you think inspired Spark Technology? Suddenly, they started to produce and sell their own products and assembled all the parts into mobile phones and cars. They are not trying to dominate the world, are they? Aren't Xiaogo's technology companies in big trouble? TSK, those rotten tomatoes and stinky sweet potatoes are a bunch of useless people. They just talk big. Every time they hold a press conference, they think they are going to change the world with technology, but in the end, it's just marketing and routine. It's just an assembly plant. Don't say these disappointing things. I'm planning to change my car recently. I have saved 10,000 yuan. Do you think I should buy the regular version or the high-end version? 10,000 yuan? I still want to buy the regular version or the high-end version. Go and ask if there are any car models of the same model. Buy one and play with it slowly. Hey, you can't say that. People should always have dreams. What if they come true? Brother, I support you. Go buy a top-end Spark personal terminal. Place an order now. SF Express will provide free shipping. Soon you will be able to use holographic projection and drive a Spark car on the bed. Phew, haha, hey, why are you talking so uncivilized? I'm a girl. Besides, my dad let me choose, and he said he would pay for the rest of the money. 9 out of 10 lalas are rich, and the other one can surf the internet. Girl, do you want to date me? I'm 180 centimeters tall, 75 kilograms in weight, with regular facial features, a healthy body, and no bad habits. The only thing I need is a soft and cute girlfriend, and a wealthy father-in-law. Spark Technology Forum, as an unofficial forum, was originally just a gathering place for some die-hard fans, but with the rise of Spark Technology, the personnel composition inside is hard to describe in one sentence. There are all kinds of people. Spark Technology is located in the suburbs of Hucheng. Before, there was no bus line. Only long-distance buses passing through the national highway would stop at the intersection 2 kilometers away. However, after Spark Technology released Spark Assistant, the Jiangling district government assigned that area to the district instead of Minquan town. A special Route 101 was opened, using new energy minibuses with carbon crystal batteries. The departure point is at Hucheng Passenger Transport Center, and the terminal is the parking lot in front of Spark Technology. However, with the rise of Spark Technology's reputation and the development rights of the entire surrounding land, a total of 25 square kilometers of land use rights, the 101 bus has also increased the number of buses from 16-seat minibuses to 32-seat buses. The entire Spark Technology Park is surrounded by King Long Lake. It used to occupy only one part, but now it is surrounded by water on 3 sides, and the front is separated by a long national highway. It feels a bit like a natural paradise. If a wall is built in front, this is a water city that is easy to defend and difficult to attack. The rumbling sound of machinery has been heard since January 5th in the Spark Technology Park north of the national highway. However, these sounds came quickly and quieted down after a few days. Luo Wen contacted the previous construction team and sent 100 million yuan. A 5-kilometer long brick wall was built along the national highway to surround Spark Technology. The wall was 3 meters high and the construction time was 10 days. No wonder Luo Wen was so generous and didn't mind Boss Huang's high price at all. After isolating the attention of the outside world, Spark Technology moved the gate directly to the place next to the national highway. Then the major renovation project began. It was not started in broad daylight, but after nightfall, the engineering robots with silver gray metallic color transformed the entire Spark Technology Park silently or inaudibly. On the 6th, Ziwen Studio recruited a new employee named Wang Yumeng, who was lively and cheerful, and a little younger than 24-year-old Fan Jiaying. In mid-January, before the Chinese New Year, when Kaiang and Ye moved to an apartment building under the same property management as the mall. The apartment is 59 square meters, 5.2 meters high, with a 40-year property right and a price of 500,000 yuan. It will be delivered fully furnished. On the 30th, Luo Wen met the 2 little girls at the district mall again. He also took Ye with him and had a crazy day. However, Zhang Qian and Jihan felt a little sorry that sister Qiuya didn't have a day off to play with them as the spring festival was approaching, unlike them who still had a wonderful winter vacation. However, because of the approaching system shuttle time and the delivery of the Spark car, Luo Wen only said that he would invite everyone out after a few days off. He heard that the neighboring Quanshu city is the hot spring town of Xiaguo, and there are many natural landscapes. Waiting for Qiuya to have a holiday, Luo Wen will organize everyone to go to the hot springs before the new year, and then have a good time for a few days before coming back. Throughout January, in addition to launching new products, they also bought the entire plot of land around the Spark Technology Park. Luo Wen was still alone, unlike Luo Wu, who basically went in and out together with Zhang Yu every day after joining Spark Technology. They lived in Luojia village, which was only a 10-minute drive away. Even during the Chinese New Year, they planned to stay in Hucheng to celebrate the New Year, and then on the second day of the Chinese New Year, Luo Wu drove to Pingyang City with gifts. The New Year atmosphere was getting stronger and stronger. Every time Luo Wen went to and from get off work, he could always feel a kind of homesickness and reunion brewing in his heart. Even the pedestrians and vehicles on the road seemed to be dense and much more diligent. Luo Wen's parents started preparing for the Chinese New Year very early. This year was different from the past. The 2 of them started to stay at home early. Luo Wen gave his parents more and more money, building a house and buying a house. He bought 2 houses at a time. As for buying a car, it became sparse and common. After all, the 6.66 million betrothal gifts were given to Zhang Yu's parents in advance, and other expenses were really insignificant. Luo Wen's father had already obtained his driver's license, and Luo Wen also bought him an SUV of the same model. Even the color was the same black. Since then, Luo Wen's father has been taking Luo Wen's mother out every day. The meatballs in Dongsan are very authentic, so they went to buy some. The tofu in Xiling Township is more authentic, so they specially bought 100 to 180 kilograms, saying that they would buy it to make tofu meatballs themselves. Other things such as fish balls, rice cakes, and glutinous rice cakes, as long as they were reluctant to buy them during the Chinese New Year. This year they drove and ran there in a hurry. On the side of the backyard near the bamboo forest, a temporary pigsty was newly built, almost close to the abandoned pigsty of Luo Wen's uncle's house. There are 2 fat black pigs and several small black pigs in it. According to Luo Wen's mother's explanation, they have to eat at home during the Chinese New Year, make bacon, and bring some to Luo Wu to Zhang Yu's house. 2 pigs may not be enough. As for the small ones, they are also prepared for Luo Wu's wedding banquet after the beginning of the new year. Many of Luo Wen's memories of the Chinese New Year come from his parents' preparations and demonstrations. As for the fact that they will have to make tofu, fried rice cakes, and pig ears at home in a few days, he has no intention of paying attention to them now. Instead, he sits quietly in the study, waiting for 12 o'clock in the morning. Ding, the plane travel is about to begin. Do you want to use the opportunity to freely choose a fantasy world? No thanks. Countdown 10, 9, 1. Whoosh, the light flickered, the wind stopped, and Luo Wen once again entered a whole new world. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 345 Choice. Ding, release the system task, freely choose to help one camp, Dragon Emperor or modern people. The task difficulty is simple, no time limit, you can return to the main world at any time. Dragon Emperor, modern people. What does this mean? No time limit, you can return to the main world at any time, or just leave and go home to prepare for the new year? Forget it, let's first figure out who the Dragon Emperor refers to. Even 100 trading points are a drop in the bucket. Luo Wen temporarily put aside his suspicion of the system's words and looked around. Without spiritual energy, there would be no so-called extraordinary people. No, Dragon Emperor. I always feel like I've heard of this name, but it doesn't matter. Even if there is an extraordinary person, I guess he can't withstand an energy cannon from the nano armor. Besides, Luo Wen is still a cultivator, in the late nascent soul stage, plus the energy affinity given by the system, and the 4-dimensional attributes with values of thousands. With one punch, he can even break through the mountain. What's there to be afraid of? Whoosh, Luo Wen's eyes began to be filled with golden charm light, and his slender body floating 10 meters above the ground also stood still in the air with no support. The divine mind was constantly exploring the surroundings at a speed of 100 meters in an instant between the green mountains and clear waters. In front of him was a transparent crystal, which was the main body of the artificial intelligence spark. The blue light inside was also constantly swimming, and countless data streams were brushing past. Through the built-in communication module, it was searching for possible communication satellites. Ding, boss, this is a parallel universe planet similar to Blue Star, and the technological level is about the same as that of the main world in 1945. Human world, 1945, Dragon Emperor. Luo Wen's eyes regained clarity, and he also saw signs of human activity in the Gobi Desert 15 kilometers away. However, they didn't look like they were doing good things. Instead, they looked a bit like archaeology, or tomb robbing. Background of the story in 1945. How could there be any archaeological activities? Only the Western powers dug up graves all over the world and carried out the so-called cultural relics protection work. Yeah, I think I found it. Li Tong, how is the lunch preparation? In a camp in the hinterland of Gao Gao Mountain, the person in charge is a blonde and blue-eyed young man who speaks Chinese with a strange accent, and when he walked out of the tent, he did not forget to put the notebook into the pocket on his waist for personal protection. Han people and foreigners live in harmony in a remote wilderness. This scene, has some clues. This seems to be the world of the mummy and the tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Finally, I have entered a world where Luo Wen has learned the plot. Luo Wen also showed a playful smile at the corner of his mouth. In the complicated memory, he was quickly sorting out and extracting all the relevant contents about the movie. He stood quietly in the hidden place of the rock and suddenly felt something unusual. On the sand dunes in the north, a group of caravans came, or a supply team. The leader was an old foreigner with sunburned skin and a fat belly. The movement of the horse team also attracted the attention of the blonde young man in the camp. He raised the telescope and showed a happy smile on his face. Oh, Wilson is back, haha. The broken walls and ruins, no green, except for the blazing sun in the sky. There was only yellow sand on the ground, and the high temperature in the air was unbearable. This place can be said to be a place where no one lives, and it doesn't seem like a place for people to stay. Russell, no matter which country these black-haired, short-sleeved, pale, and thin Han people belong to, but the Chinese language they speak naturally makes Luo Wen feel a sense of identity and belonging, and automatically puts himself in the identity of his compatriots. As for these blonde youths, who made their debut, and the fat Professor Wilson, whether they were real Western scholars or Western cultural relics thieves, Luo Wen didn't really care. After all, this movie was shot based on the worldview of foreigners. Luo Wen certainly wouldn't agree with the foreigners' settings and the distinction between good and evil, but it was not time for him to show up yet, so Luo Wen just found a clean stone facing away from the sun, and decided to sit down and observe quietly. You are several days late, Professor. I thought you were robbed on the road, haha. Oh, dear friend, thank you for your concern. One old and one young, one short and one tall. The relationship between the two seemed very close, or they were friends who had known each other for a long time. The blonde youth met Professor Wilson, who had just arrived at the camp, and while in a good mood, he handed him an aluminum kettle, and joked with him. As for the English they were using to chat, it naturally had no effect on Luo Wen, who had eliminated the language barrier. Gilu, ha. Oh, I just saw you standing on the stone statue. I thought I saw your father. You are worthy of being Rigokana's son. You have the same special temperament and personality charm as him. Haha, I really hope that from now on, people will call him Alex Okana's father. What do you think, Professor Wilson? Haha, catcher. All around the camp, there are Han people wearing short coats, long pants and headscarves. They are either cleaning the exposed stone statues or digging down. It seems that there is a target they want to find below. Oh, it should be the mausoleum of Qin Shi Huang. No, it should be the tomb of the Dragon Emperor, right? This movie is an adventure movie adapted from the mausoleum of Qin Shi Huang, but it adds the worldview of Westerners and their heroic rescue plot. To say that the Dragon Emperor is Qin Shi Huang, it is not completely accurate. It can only be regarded as the incarnation of a parallel universe, right? Oh, Alex, when I told my colleagues at the museum that you discovered the terracotta warriors, they were all shocked. Haha. Well, of course, I know it hasn't been fully excavated yet, but can you tell me when we can get in? Alex smiled but said nothing, and even looked a little worried. No, Alex, forget those troubles. It was you who found Benbridge's diary. With it, you will soon find the Dragon Emperor, and all difficulties will be solved. I believe in you, Alex. Thank you, Professor. Thank you for trusting me so much. Wilson should be regarded as Alex's friend regardless of age, or Alex is Wilson's friend regardless of age. At least Alex came all the way to Middle-earth, and Wilson came specially to encourage and support him, which has already shown their sincere friendship. Found it. Haha. Although they spoke in Chinese, they clearly had a strong Shaanxi accent. The workers, with disheveled hair and dirty faces, seemed to be cheering for completing their work goals. However, what they didn't know was that the Dragon Emperor's tomb was a treasure of their nation. Now that foreign scholars came to excavate it, it would be better to say that it was a mild open robbery, rather than a protection of cultural relics. Chapter 346 Treasure Hunt Adventure. If this is a world of mummies, and the Dragon Emperor is the Dragon Emperor, there seem to be some valuable treasures here. Haha, I hope the villain wins the most. It's interesting. Luo Wen muttered to himself, and a nano-alloy thermos cup appeared out of thin air in his hand. The jasmine tea inside was still as hot as when he put it in. Gurgle. The fragrance is overflowing. In such an environment, drinking refreshing tea is really a great enjoyment. Boom with a loud bang. At dusk, this group of foreign scholars blew up the dragon-breaking stone with explosives and successfully entered the mausoleum. However, Luo Wen remembered that the mechanism inside was extremely dangerous, and every move was life-threatening and merciless. It was easy to get in, but it might not be so easy to get out. Poison gas, crossbows, and fatal flywheels. According to the Western perspective in the plot setting, Alex and Wilson survived to the end, while the Han people who followed them and became tomb robbers. Luo Wen recognized their compatriots, but did not support their behavior. Since they chose to rob tombs, they must be prepared to pay the price. If they lose their lives, they can only say that they deserve it. In the far west, a couple who met because of the adventure could not bear the restless adventurous heart of the secluded manor. They once again accepted a new mission to return the Middle-earth artifact Eye of Shangri-La to Britain and embarked on a new journey. However, what they didn't know was that this originally smooth adventure became a heroic journey to save the world again. An alien appeared, which might even change their fate, that should have been peaceful. It's not about right or wrong, it's only about stance. This is the cognitive bias between different cultures. Or, Brown is a pure nationalist. He is willing to do anything that is beneficial to the nation. Brown will kill those who are threatening the nation right before his eyes. He will root them out. Shanghai, a place with 10 miles of foreign lands, is a scene of decadence and debauchery, and a false prosperity of singing the song of the back garden across the river. Following Alex O'Connor, the descendant of the adventurer Rick O'Connor, Brown put on a custom-made suit, big-toed leather shoes, and this one. It's still a simple and easy to manage short hair, without hairspray, but like a steel needle, tough and extraordinarily stylish. "Oh, sir, can you buy me a drink? Maybe we can spend a good time together?" The charming blonde with big waves, wearing the most fashionable glass stockings in Gaul, and a low-cut dress, showed her beautiful figure to the fullest. As for why there are such hot foreign girls in the concession, it may be related to the turbulent situation. After all, where there is war, there are all kinds of needs. And here, you may meet young and rich big men at any time, and Liu Hang will naturally move when she hears the news. Don't socialites and socialites take advantage of their youth and beauty to seek a rich second half of their lives, so they deliberately show off their feminine charm. Otherwise, what are they for? Seeking world peace and bringing beautiful scenery to the disaster-stricken Middle-earth to soothe the soul. "Excuse me, I may not be so free. Waiter, give this lady a glass of wine. Put it on my account." Facing the gentleness of the blonde beauty, Brown took a half step back without leaving a trace, just avoiding her bright white arms. The disappointed woman had to nod slightly and leave consciously with the wine glass. Alex O'Connor, his uncle Jonathan, and Rick O'Connor and his wife who were sitting in the hotel lobby waiting to check in. Brown used his eyes to search the entire hotel lobby and the characters in the banquet ballroom next to it. Just like what he saw in other worlds, every character in the plot would be more real and vivid, but they just lived their own wonderful lives with the same face as the actors. The warlords in Middle-earth were fighting in chaos, and there were concessions and ceded land set up by the powers everywhere, just like the real late Qing dynasty and early Republic of China. It's just that this is another parallel world. The same people are living in poverty, the same civilians are displaced, the same material desires are rampant, and desires confuse people's hearts. A couple who are worried about their son who is active and disobedient. Although they are well-known adventurers with rich experience and resourcefulness, they are obviously no different from ordinary people in family education. The father and son are still at odds, and the mother mediates and resolves the conflict. Alex O'Connor is a child of the O'Connor couple. In addition to not obeying his parents' discipline, he has inherited the excellent adventurous genes of the couple, and has grown into a brave young man with outstanding appearance and a love of adventure activities. Brown did not check in at the hotel, but with money in his hand, he naturally became one of the popular guests. Moreover, it is unknown whether it will be tonight or tomorrow. The couple will take the Eye of Shangri-La to the Magic City Museum to complete the plot setting of the Hangman banquet as scheduled, and he only needs to follow secretly, and someone will naturally complete the plan to revive the Dragon Emperor. What Luo Wen has to do is to confirm face to face whether the Dragon Emperor is worthy of his help, or whether he is simply a tyrannical monarch who conquers for the sake of conquest. All the beautiful imaginations of Qin Shi Huang are just wishful imaginations on the Dragon Emperor. To be honest, with the arrival of the new year in the main world, Luo Wen can't help cheering and jumping for joy. His heart, which has been silent for a long time, has also become excited. If it can be verified that the immortal spring is real and effective, then Luo Wen can't be more fortunate. After all, there is only an old woman guarding it, and it is extremely easy to get the spring water. I'm afraid that all the beautiful imaginations are just imaginations. What kind of parasitic microorganism is the so-called immortal spring? In the plot, the Dragon Emperor was activated and transformed into a three-headed dragon. Moreover, without the blessing of the mysterious power, it is a substance that is harmful to the human body. That's not good. Water without a source, duckweed without roots, has always been the moon in the mirror, the flower in the water. Everything is empty in the end. Luo Wen himself has the talent of energy affinity, and he has practiced the method of transcendence. The growing vitality is the best proof, but he still has family, friends, and people he misses. Luo Wen must try hard in every opportunity. If he can get an item that can make people immortal, no, as long as it can prolong life, he will think it is an extremely exciting and cheering thing. By the way, the system rules are set. Every time you travel through time and space, the time of the main world is relatively static. Isn't it for this reason? Chapter 347 Sorrow. At the beginning of the movie, there was a short historical background introduction, saying that the Dragon Emperor was an ambitious and very cruel monarch more than 2000 years ago. He conquered the entire Middle-earth with military force, and showed extreme desire for other continents in the world. This paragraph alone makes people feel confused. The Dragon Emperor ended the chaos among the princes, and unified the Middle-earth, allowing the people of the world to live in a peaceful environment. Shouldn't his merits outweigh his faults? The world's wars did not start because of the Dragon Emperor. Is it good to have wars, border frictions, and years of fighting? As a generation of heroes under the feudal background, the Dragon Emperor prepared for war and worked hard to govern the country, allowing the vassal states under his rule to continuously annex the weak, and then bring a more peaceful and legal living environment to the civilians of the world. Is there anything wrong with that? The only thing wrong is those old vested interest groups, princes and nobles. They no longer have the power and status to abuse their power. As a loser, they accuse and resent the conqueror Dragon Emperor. Is the dark history of the West more humane and civilized than that of Middle-earth? From the perspective of a Han Chinese identity, Luo Wen did not immediately snatch the Eye of Shangri-La and then revive the Dragon Emperor to help him clear all obstacles and pacify the 8 wildernesses and 6 directions in one fell swoop. He has already maintained an objective and rational outsider's thinking. In order to confirm that the Dragon Emperor in the plot has no personality differences with the Dragon Emperor in this real world, Luo Wen has been following silently and regarded himself as an observer. He has already shown the greatest tolerance and understanding for Alex Okana's family and the so-called Joss modern people. Ziyuan and Ji Yuoming, who had an affair first and rebelled later, deserve to die. Whether Ziyuan is a Han civilian under the rule of the Dragon Emperor is not a matter for the time being, but since she agreed to enter the palace to refine the elixir of immortality for the Dragon Emperor, why did she go back on her word? Where is the most basic integrity of being a human being? As for Ji Yuoming, it was he who brought Ziyuan to the Dragon Emperor. He was not only the most trusted general of the Dragon Emperor, but he was also the one who betrayed his loyalty and secretly colluded with Ziyuan to betray the Dragon Emperor's trust. In the end, he pretended to be a weak man and cursed the Dragon Emperor and his army, turning them into immobile clay figurines in an instant, breaking up a powerful and unified Middle-earth civilization into a weak and scattered country that was bullied by foreign races. If Luo Wen had not been rational and patient enough, just based on the chaotic world of why not eat meat porridge he saw in the Magic City concession in the past few days, he would have had enough reason to punish those who turned black and white, making them live a life worse than death and their souls fly away. Especially, Lin, who was entangled with Alex and had feelings for each other, should be called Ji Yuolin. She obviously has the blood of Middle-earth people, black hair, black eyes and yellow skin, and is a descendant of the Han nationality. It seems that she is Ji Yuoming's biological daughter. The meaning of her life was not to protect the security of the nation, but to participate in the treasure hunt and discovery activities of Western adventurers. She even turned a blind eye to the current war in the Middle-earth, believing that the Dragon Emperor was the world's biggest demon. She was actually a global pacifist who had awakened in a feudal society. The Great Wall built under the order of the Dragon Emperor was to protect the security of the Middle-earth. As a result, they thought it was the most direct evidence of the Dragon Emperor's cruelty. They were short-sighted for the sake of small righteousness. Oh, by the way, a treacherous general and a Taoist nun who was full of benevolence and righteousness, but had an affair with someone. It was normal for Luo Wen, the offspring born from such a union, to behave like this. The Magic City Museum, a Middle-earth museum established by a foreign capitalist. Even the curator is a foreigner, but the cultural relics displayed in it were all collected from the public and official channels in an open and above-board manner, which was ridiculous. Bus creak. In front of the magnificent and large Magic City Museum, the guards at the door are all police sent by the concession police station. Today seems to be the traditional New Year in the Middle-earth. Luo Wen, who came all the way from Shanxi to the Magic City, has unknowingly crossed the autumn and winter months. An extended version of the classic car, with the joyful Okana family, drove into the gate of the Magic City Museum. Today is the grand festival celebration in the Middle-earth. The concession is decorated with lights and firecrackers, gongs, and drums are loud, and there is an extremely lively and peaceful atmosphere. The men are wearing tuxedos that are in line with the status of gentlemen, and the ladies are wearing dazzling and eye-catching evening dresses. The Okana family is waiting to return the Eye of Shangri-La, so that they can go to the hotel to attend the holiday dance and relax. Oh, Alex, you will see your greatest discovery in Middle-earth soon. As your mother, I'm proud of you, baby. Badgie, the charming Mrs. O'Connor, who has become more beautiful and attractive in middle age. Of course, it may also be that her family is both wealthy and extremely happy, so she is always young and beautiful. Hey, I'll pick you up in an hour. Don't spend too much time here. There are many activities and performances tonight. The driver is a thin middle-aged man with a Mediterranean hairstyle. Jonathan. He is Mrs. O'Connor's younger brother, that is, Alex's uncle. It's a pity that foreigners don't have this corresponding title, and they all call him uncle. Oh, Joe, don't you come in with us? As a member of the family, Mrs. O'Connor naturally hopes that Jonathan can witness the growth and achievements of her children together. It's a pity that his mind is on the single women in the hotel today. No, I've seen enough mummies in my life. I still like dealing with living people. We are here. You can get off the car. Haha. Click, bang, boom. Jonathan was indeed a little anxious. The O'Connor family of 3 had just closed the car door, and before they had time to say a few more words, this middle-aged single dog, who was moved by the festive atmosphere, stepped on the accelerator and rushed out of the museum. It took several months. Alex, under the witness of Rowan, pushed it by people, pulled it by horses, used a large truck, a ferry, and then changed to a train. The bronze chariot weighing several tons, 4 bronze horses pulling the chariot, a bronze soldier statue driving the chariot, and a bronze coffin with complex patterns, and reinforced with copper nails, were successfully transported to the exhibition hall of the Magic City Museum not long ago. Foreigners built museums in the name of Middle-earth people, and then funded non-Middle-earth scholars and archaeological teams to exhibit their great discoveries in Middle-earth all over the world. From upstream to downstream, it is basically a one-stop service, showing Middle-earth cultural relics, and finally getting honors and profits, but they have nothing to do with Middle-earth. Such sadness, for a nation, is really sad, and makes people cry. But it's a pity that, except for Luo Wen, no one in this world seems to think that this matter is worth being sad and caring about. Just like Lin, who followed the team to the Magic City stealthily, she has only one goal in her eyes, that is to use the short blade in her hand to pierce the heart of the Dragon Emperor. Regardless of whether he is resurrected or not, she is determined to kill the danger in the cradle. Click, click, look, there he is. Alex, with a proud face, introduced his discoveries and achievements in Middle-earth to his parents with satisfaction. And following the direction of his finger, the quaint, desolate and exquisite bronze chariot instantly attracted the attention of the adventurer couple. Oh, God, what a shocking ancient artifact from Middle-earth. Look at the ingenious craftsmanship and the extreme details. So lifelike. I can't believe what I see with my own eyes. These are from more than 2000 years ago. It's beautiful, so beautiful. Alex, I'm proud of you. From coming to the Magic City to the unpleasantness that happened in the hotel banquet hall yesterday, Rick O'Connor finally praised his son from the bottom of his heart at this time. Chapter 348 Conspiracy. Whoosh, the air blew on a Luo Wen's woolen coat, but it didn't move at all, as if it had no effect on it. If you look closely, you will find that there is actually a transparent spiritual shield on the outer layer of a Luo Wen's clothes, or a composite spell of invisibility and protection. Standing alone on the dome of the museum under the dark night sky, click, click, next to him, there is a bulky mechanical clock, and the time has reached 7 o'clock in the evening. Whoosh, snap across a dark residential area, the lights in the distance are bright, and the fireworks and noises seem to be not limited by this distance. Oh, dear, you are so dazzling tonight. When people reach middle age, they should maintain a positive and energetic body. The most important thing is to be good at discovering the beauty around them. For example, Alex went to the museum to look for Professor Wilson, and against the backdrop of the ancient Middle-earth artifacts, Rick found that his wife's silk evening dress and smooth skin complemented the newly unearthed bronze horses and bronze chariots, which made people's desires so strong. Oh, really? I think this may be thanks to these mummies. There was no one around, and the O'Connor couple, who were infatuated, did not seem to mind being intimate in this environment and having some more intimate contact. Or it was this environment that stimulated their desires. The two were legal husband and wife. If they really wanted to have a primitive sport, perhaps Rowan would not take the initiative to disturb them. Ha ha. The two people's breathing began to become hot and rapid, and the distance between their lips was getting closer and closer. Ta-ta. Ta-ta. Oh, I'm so sorry. We missed each other in Cairo last time. Did I disturb you? Mrs. O'Connor's eyes were as charming as silk, and she was quite dissatisfied with the sudden appearance of the visitor. However, this was the museum's territory after all, so she had to stand up and suppress the impulsive thoughts in her heart. Roger, I can only say that you came at an inopportune time, just like the time in Cairo. Professor Wilson, long time no see. As civilized people from the West, they still have to be civilized when they should be civilized. Rick, Evelyn, long time no see, haha. Although the couple felt a little unhappy, they still greeted them with a smile. However, Alex was not going to find the professor, so where was he? After a few polite exchanges, the two sides got down to business. Professor Wilson, with a blushing face, turned the topic to the Eye of Shangri-La. My dear friend, I think you brought the gift we wanted, right? What is it? Evelyn, Mrs. O'Connor, was old but not old at heart. She made a naughty joke. They thought that Wilson's face changed, and he was cooperating with them. Rick used a trick to throw the bronze hollow mechanism box from his back into the air, and then caught it in his palm quickly. Well, be careful. Of course, Roger, it's yours. It was not until Rick put the mechanism box on Wilson's palm that he, who was panicked, was really relieved. I knew I could trust you. He laughed falsely. Tap, tap, I'm afraid your mission is not yet completed, Mr. O'Connor and his wife. The sound of leather boots stepping on the floor sounded, and a cold voice came with it. The two soldiers, a man and a woman, appeared in front of the O'Connors. They were wearing meticulous uniforms, and their badges were antique bronze dragon heads. Was this some kind of ancient armed organization hidden behind the scenes? Oh, I almost forgot. Rick, Evelyn, let me introduce my new friend to you. Swish, click. Wilson was still smiling a second ago, and the next second he pulled out a pistol from his waist and aimed directly at Rick O'Connor, who was blocking the front, with the same indifference on his face. This is General Yang. Oh, Roger, what the hell are you doing? Rick was well informed, and he knew without saying anything that Wilson had set him up. Evelyn, who was a little bit unacceptable, couldn't understand why her old friend Roger Wilson would get involved with these two General Yangs and point the gun at them. Oh, let me explain. He funded Alex's archaeological excavation this time, and he and I are in the same group, just like comrades fighting side by side, right, General? Wilson is an old man, and a highly respected scholar in the West. Logically speaking, it is impossible for him to get together with the Middle-earth forces to deal with his own people, unless the interests are attractive. Wait, an old man with fame and status. Material conditions should not be a temptation to him, so it's for the sake of fame? No, no, it's said that he is a highly respected scholar. No matter how famous he is, it's not worth it for him to turn against his own friends, right? Then it can only be the mysterious supernatural power, or the immortal fountain promised to him by General Yang. Swish, General Yang, with a cold face, brought his cold female adjutant, holding the Eye of Shangri-La, and turned around to bow respectfully to the bronze coffin. Although Luo Wen felt that it was a bit out of place, a parallel universe world that exists, based on the plot obviously cannot be viewed with common sense in terms of etiquette and culture. Snap, snap, Wilson, although he is old, has a sense of being a loyal younger brother. He took out the pistol and dagger from Rick, and then threw them directly into the corner of the hall. As for Evelyn, who was wearing a low-cut evening dress with a bare back, he maintained his gentlemanly demeanor, and felt that there was no need to make any more moves, so as not to cause misunderstandings and anger the couple. No matter how you look at it, Evelyn doesn't look like she can hide a pistol anywhere. The villain's laughter sounded. General Yang, as shown in the plot, began to explain kindly to the O'Connor couple who looked indignant. The Eye of God contains the water of the fountain of eternal life. I need you to open it, Mrs. O'Connor. The villain died because of talking too much, and then was forcibly reduced in intelligence. A good hand of cards, but in the end, it was counterattacked by the righteous side. This seems to have become a regular routine in blockbusters. Luo Wen was also a little confused. Why was the Eye of Shangri-La produced by Middle-earth set to be opened by a foreign woman? Just because she is a linguist, she knows the ancient language of Middle-earth? The key is to open it, so why did General Yang keep talking nonsense, saying that there is the water of the fountain of eternal life in it? It is probably really necessary for the plot, otherwise all the plots are concise and to the point, and I'm afraid that the audience will not understand. Oh, no, you want to use him to wake up the Dragon Emperor, right? Evelyn, who looked like she had suddenly realized something, quietly began to back away, acting like an ordinary woman who was frightened. Oh, and his terracotta army, that's our goal. Wilson, who was holding a gun, kindly interjected, fearing that the explanation was not detailed enough. Awakening an army of mummies, you are really crazy. Listen, Yang. Rick has been exploring and searching for treasures for most of his life, and has experienced countless life and death. Hearing such crazy remarks, he felt too speechless. With the halo of the protagonist of the first two movies, he seemed to be planning to use his eloquence to persuade General Yang to put down these fantastic ambitions. Everyone sat down and talked calmly, but unfortunately, what they got in return was alienation and a backhand punch. Poof, blood came out of the corner of his mouth, and his teeth seemed to be a little loose. Ha, he, ah, creak, snap. While Rick attracted their attention, Evelyn lifted her skirt, revealing a female dagger hidden at the base of a pair of smooth glass socks. But before she could swing her weapon to change the situation, she was wrestled to the ground by the female adjutant behind her. Oh, no, 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 Rick, I advise you not to move at last. Hoo-hoo, Mr. O'Connor, open the bronze coffin, now, and you, dangerous Mrs. O'Connor, I advise you not to struggle fearlessly anymore. Read the inscription on it, and open the bronze lock. General Yang seemed to be a little angry, because of the couple's non-cooperation, and his voice became irritable, raising the Eye of Shangri-La in his hand, and it seemed that he had no patience. Chapter 349, Awakened by Accident. Oh, no, Middle-earth ancient Chinese is not my strong point. Evelyn was threatened by the female adjutant. I don't know if she really doesn't know how to read it, or if she is looking for an excuse to turn the tables. Oh, really? It seems that our Mrs. O'Connor needs some excitement. Wilson. Hey, this General Yang is really good. He even knows English. It seems that, in order to revive the Dragon Emperor, he has also learned a lot of useful skills in advance. Click. Wilson, who is over 50 years old, is really a very loyal brother. He picked up the pistol and started to load it. No, I read it. Cut. After all this time, Mrs. O'Connor really knows how to read it. Wait, Evelyn, don't read it, they will still kill me in the end. Rick stood on the bronze chariot with a crowbar, acting very calmly. Maybe just like he said, even if Evelyn did what General Yang asked, in the end, they still couldn't escape the fate of being killed. Instead of this, it's better to be a hero who protects world peace, and it can be regarded as a death without regrets. Let go. It says here that only a drop of blood from a person with a pure heart can open the eye of God. Rick can give up his life for justice, but Evelyn is obviously unwilling to accept her fate so easily, and she also translated the meaning she saw from the inscription, and told General Yang. But, pure heart? Where can I find this thing? Foreigners make movies and dig holes for themselves, and they fill them up casually. Anyway, in their understanding, a pure heart is not afraid of death. And under Luo Wen's observation, the so-called bronze mechanism of the Eye of Shangri-La is just a targeted structure designed to be corroded and activated by blood. It doesn't make much difference if you replace someone else. Puff, hissed. Evelyn's fingertips were cut by the dagger, and a few drops of dark red blood fell on the bronze mechanism lock. The bronze patterns, that were originally intertwined with each other, turned into 9 small snakes, spitting out their tongues, and leaving the Eye of Shangri-La. The blooming crystal mechanism was like a pure snow lotus blooming. Except for a shallow layer of crystal sparkling unknown spring water, there was the god's eye in the middle, a dazzling diamond bigger than a goose egg. Hey, you haven't seen me since we separated last time. In the second floor attic of the museum, Lin, dressed in an embroidered robe, was observing everything happening in the exhibition hall with a focused expression. Alex, who had gone to look for Wilson, came to her side like a young man chasing after a beauty. I don't have time to joke with you, Alex. Oh, you know my name, but I don't know yours. It's not fair. Okay, my name is Lin. Lin, are you here to explain to me why you want to kill me in the Imperial Tomb? Silently reciting the name of the beautiful Middle-earth girl, Alex paced closer to Lin, who had a mysterious temperament. We can do this, or we can go down and rescue your parents. What? Oh, shit, Wilson, you bastard. It was not until Lin reminded him that Alex finally saw what happened in the exhibition hall through the secret light hole. His mother was being held hostage, and his father was being forced by Wilson to pry the bronze coffin of the Dragon Emperor with a gun. Wow. Clang, bang. Once the Dragon Emperor touches this, he will be resurrected to conquer the world. Haha, Wilson, kill him. The bronze coffin was pried open, and General Yang, holding the fountain of eternal life, was like the most devout martyr. He walked onto the bronze chariot carefully, his face full of fanaticism and madness. He only had one last step left, and he could use the supreme power of the Dragon Emperor to become the first person to create history. Click. Wilson raised his pistol and aimed at Rick, who looked helpless. Whoosh, whoosh, At this critical moment, the air was filled with fluttering clothes, and then 2 figures, a man and a woman, fell from the sky and arrived at the center of the exhibition hall in the blink of an eye. Bang, snap. Alex, who was swinging on the lifting rope, and Lin were like gods descending from the sky. Not only did they kick Wilson, who was about to kill him, away, but Lin also kicked the eternal spring water in General Yang's hand and knocked it onto the bronze statue on the other side. No. Wilson gasped after landing, first because of physical discomfort, and then because a plan to revive the Dragon Emperor seemed to have failed. General Yang, who was so angry that his eyes were bloodshot, had planned a plan for a long time, but it failed at this most critical moment. I'm afraid no one would accept it. Kai on the dome. Luo Wen's beautiful imagination of the eternal spring water in his heart turned into nothingness at this moment. This is not a holy water at all, but countless microscopic parasites. The moment it touched the bronze statue, it directly corroded the outer shell and then soaked into the dry corpse inside, so that the sealed ancient soul inside was reactivated. The violent aura soared into the sky. The black and white auras representing good and evil were deeply entangled together, a chaotic color. Now, Luo Wen didn't know whether he should show up now and choose to help the Dragon Emperor who was about to break the seal. Under the key-looking technique, according to Luo Wen's previous principles, such a color that is neither white nor black should be washed by heavenly thunder. However, Lin, who represents the modern people of justice, and is also a group of foreigners and Han traitors, really made Luo Wen wonder whether he should put aside his prejudice and stand on the side of them. Drink, bang, bang, bang. The exhibition hall was in chaos. General Yang and the female adjutant, whose plan had failed, were fighting with the Okana couple. Lin, who pulled out a short blade from her waist, turned over and jumped into the coffin, raised the weapon in her hand high, and thrust it into the heart of the black and smelly corpse. Creak, snap. The fight between the female adjutant and Okana was the most lively. After all, they were two women. The occasional flashes of spring light made Rowan on the roof shift his observation range. Alex and Wilson were completely bullying the old with the young, and the contest was not at the same level at all. Wilson had no pistol, and could only lie on the ground, and pretend to be pitiful and beg for mercy. Okana and his group temporarily dealt with General Yang's group, and Lin held the collar on the chest of the corpse, and murmured to herself, "This is not him, this is a eunuch, the Dragon Emperor is not here." Bang, bang, this. Boom. The soldier statue standing on the bronze chariot began to explode inch by inch at this time, and a pair of bony hands directly tore the soldier's bronze shell from the inside of the neck. The Dragon Emperor is resurrected. To be honest, at least this resurrection scene is still extremely shocking and terrifying. However, if it weren't for Lin's sudden appearance, General Yang would have been afraid that the fountain of eternal life would have been poured on the eunuch in the coffin, and the Dragon Emperor would not have been accidentally awakened. With this plot setting, Luo Wen only wants to say one word: surrender. Snap, snap, bang bang. Not only a shriveled and terrifying humanoid corpse broke free from the bronze soldiers and resurrected, but even the originally lifeless bronze warhorses also had their metal skin cracked, and fiery red light shot out from inside, kicking the bronze iron hooves, and they also resurrected. Whisper. He panted heavily, trying to break free from the reins. Ha ha. His rapid inhalation made the air in the exhibition hall generate a swelling airflow. The shriveled body of the Dragon Emperor instantly turned into a plump clay figurine. It seems that the Dragon Emperor, who has mastered the power of the 5 element, is still very weak after his resurrection, so he needs to borrow the clay figurine to protect his body. Bang, bang, bang. Bullets flew. Rick, who picked up the weapon from the ground, began to output madly at the Dragon Emperor. The shell of the clay figurine was also beaten to pieces, revealing the horrible shriveled corpse inside. Ah, fire. Boom. The voice was like the friction between stones, which made people's ears itch. But Luo Wen clearly heard the syllables spoken by the Dragon Emperor. Facing the resurrected enemy, the Dragon Emperor's first step was to use the earth element to put up a shield for himself. Seeing that he could not stop the hidden weapon with amazing lethality, he opened his mouth and a ball of raging flames came directly towards everyone around him. Snap, bang, Biu Biu. Your Majesty, I'm here to protect you. I can help you gain eternal life. Please give me a chance. Okay, if you lie, I can kill you at any time. Get on. General Yang turned over and climbed onto the bronze chariot, and the Dragon Emperor once again condensed the earth element and restored his clay body. Go. Shaking the reins, the Dragon Emperor obviously planned to temporarily leave this place of trouble and find a place to slowly understand the current situation before making plans. No, 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 wait. Take me with you, the great Dragon Emperor. Please take me with you. The trembling Wilson seemed to know that the fate waiting for him would not be good. He twisted his fat body and tried desperately to climb onto the bronze chariot. It was a pity that he seemed to have forgotten that the Dragon Emperor was Han Chinese, and he was a Han Chinese from 2000 years ago. How could he understand English? With a grappling hand, the fire element was activated. Snap, Wilson's head was separated, and he became a dead foreigner who could not die anymore. Gee. Boom. The bronze chariot pulled by 4 horses rushed away after crashing through the wall of the museum. Compared with modern industrial buildings, the power of the 5 element mastered by the Dragon Emperor is undoubtedly superior. Moreover, with the protection of the bronze shell, the power of the bronze horses seems to have been strengthened. Chapter 350. First Contact. Bang 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 bang. At the end of the road leading to the suburbs, the Dragon Emperor fled the city center with General Yang. On the bustling streets, whoosh, whoosh, snap, Snap, the sky was filled with fireworks and firecrackers, which had been ignited in advance before the midnight bell rang. Today is Chinese New Year. What are these foreigners doing, driving around the streets? I don't know. There's a bronze chariot running ahead. I don't know if I'm seeing things. The terracotta warriors on it are driving the chariot. TSK, what you saw is nothing. I also saw one of the foreigners riding a headless bronze horse, running from Huangpu Road to the Bund. It's not some new foreign thing, is it? There were many different opinions, and amidst the discussion, the O'Connor family, who were covered in scars, and Jonathan, who was forced to join halfway, were lying on the cold street, wailing in pain. Even Lin, who wanted to pierce the heart of the Dragon Emperor, was in pain and couldn't get up smoothly. Beep, beep. The uniformed police officers from the patrol station were riding their bicycles and rushing towards this intersection, and the crowd watching the show around them were also pointing and talking, not knowing whether they should step forward to help or just look at this group of people and wait for the police to deal with them. But, creak, get in the car. A long car drove to the scene of the explosion. From the perspective of passers-by, the driver was a handsome young man from Middle-earth. The O'Connor family, who did not want to cause a diplomatic incident, also supported each other and got into the car quickly. Who are you? The man had a stern face, outstanding temperament, and rare handsome appearance. Alex, who always thought highly of himself, also quietly looked at Lynn beside him at this time, fearing that she would be attracted by the handsome appearance of the man. No answer. Oh, by the way, he just spoke Chinese. Maybe he can't speak English? Sir, why did you save us? What's your name? Ming's he, stumbling. Evelyn, as a linguist, finally asked the question they were most concerned about. No, I'm not saving you. I just have some questions I want to ask. It's not that he doesn't know English. The young man spoke English with a pure London accent, even more authentic than them. But what questions did the mysterious young man, who had never met before, need them to answer? Creak. Please park this car in the parking space. This is a tip. Oh, yes sir. Thank you for your generosity. Swish, hiss, ha. Damn mummies. Why do they always have abilities that ordinary people can't master? Rowan stopped the car at a hotel where O'Connor stayed and waved to the doorman, handing over a $10 bill, which might be his monthly income. The wounded passengers also got off the car with twitching mouths. Their clothes were either torn here or burned with a black hole there, and the bloodstains and smoked hair on their clothes were not to be mentioned. Oh, my body hurts so much, I must have broken my bones when I jumped out of the car. The group of people who supported each other watched the strange young man send them to the hotel where they were staying. They temporarily put down their guard and began to support each other to walk to the concert hall in the hotel. There were drinks and ice cubes there, which could just relieve their nervous mood and hypothermia. Bang, I don't know if the guests in the hotel went to the street or the banquet hall, or it was too late and they left to sleep and rest. Anyway, after pushing open the door, there was no one inside except the light on the bar. Jonathan, please give me a glass of tequila. I need to relieve my mood. Hey, Joe, give me one too. I feel a little cold. Amid the sound of bangs, Jonathan skillfully took out the wine glasses and ice cubes from the bar and applied ice to his buttocks that were burned by the fire, while using his other hand to pour drinks for his sister and brother-in-law. Gulp, gulp, Harik, if you hadn't exposed our whereabouts, we almost killed the Dragon Emperor. Oh, really? Yeah, quick action. You resurrected another mummy, and this bastard has superpowers. He can control fire, water, gold, and God knows what else. But you dug him out, Alex. Oh, really? Dad, you're not going to blame me for this too? After the family escaped from danger and returned to the safety of the hotel, the father and son just took a breath and began to blame each other. Enough. Shut up, you two. It's not any of our fault. It's Wilson who took advantage of our trust. And, click, click, we have new friends here. Can't you have some family etiquette? Evelyn, who had simply cleaned herself with a wet towel, walked up to Rowan in high heels with a curious look on her face. Handsome guy, can I know your name? Oh, by the way, my name is Evelyn. He is my husband Rick. This is my brother Jonathan, and he is my son Alex. Evelyn began to introduce herself, and at the same time, the puzzled look in her eyes was also fixed on Rowan's face, as if she wanted to use her extraordinary vision to observe the slightest abnormality or details of the origin of this mysterious man. Rowan. Hey, Lynn, are you okay? I apologize to you for my parents, but I think our cooperation is not bad. What do you think? Alex's focus was only on Lynn. He seemed to be a little wary of Rowan, or deliberately kept a distance. Oh, yes, except that he didn't kill the Dragon Emperor. Who is he? Why can't I see through the flow of his breath from beginning to end? No, he is definitely not an ordinary person. He is a peerless master. Lynn had a crush on Alex, but now that the Dragon Emperor had resurrected, she was in no mood to talk about feelings. Moreover, she could not sense the intention and strength of this mysterious young man who suddenly appeared. However, she could vaguely sense that he seemed to have been observing her, including his sudden appearance. I'm afraid he came for her. My name is Rowan, Mrs. Evelyn. You and I are not from the same side. As foreign friends, you have come all the way to return the treasures of Middle-earth. I admire your courage and fearless behavior. Rick or Evelyn, now they are really confused. Who is this young man named Rowan, and why did he suddenly appear? The air was disturbed, and Rowan got up from his chair and walked towards Lynn. He didn't mind providing help to the O'Connor family. He didn't follow the Dragon Emperor at the first time, just because he admired the kindness and ownership of this middle-aged couple. But this does not include their son Alex. After all, it was he who led the excavation of the Dragon Emperor's tomb in Middle-earth. Your name is Lynn? Swish. Hey, stay away from her. Even if you just helped us, you shouldn't question a beautiful lady in such a tone. Guardian Knight Alex stood in front of Lynn, who was surprised. But Rowan was not angry. Instead, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, revealing a meaningful smile. Alex, I know you like her, but you didn't ask her if there is something she didn't tell you, or in other words, whether she is willing to accept your love. Click. Rowan turned around and sat back on the sofa to show that he did not come with malicious intent, at least not for the time being. The distance would affect people's alertness. Although this group of people posed no threat to him at all, killing them was just a matter of thought. But Rowan was really not a bloodthirsty person. Alex, watch your behavior. Luo just helped us. You shouldn't treat him like this. Oh, dear Luo, I'm really sorry. I apologize for Alex's reckless behavior. Evelyn is a considerate wife and a good mother who loves her children very much. Rowan has no bad impression of her. It's okay. The question I want to ask has nothing to do with him. I won't bother you too much this time. Lynn, can you tell me why you want to kill the Dragon Emperor? Waving his hand, Rowan leaned back on the sofa, raised his head, and just looked at Lynn, who had a pretty face, and pursed her lips tightly without saying a word. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.